This is real good content. We should actually just drop this. I don't give a...
Yo.
No, we're recording. We're live now.
Oh, we are?
Yeah. No, this is all now being recorded. This is my podcast voice.
Real professional. I was getting ready to slander some people. We're live now. Go ahead.
No, but this is happening now. This is a thing. This dude is just like,
cheers.
Yeah, man, I'm here. Hey, cheers, brother.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers,
been a
man.
while. Been a while.
Been a while, man.
I feel like this is like in the works way longer than we're willing to admit.
Yeah, absolutely. Shit, I'm happy as fuck that you're here. All right, let me do the intro.
Yeah,
I feel like
set it up properly. Get it right. Get it right.
Welcome all to episode number 38 of the What Are We Even Talking About podcast. I am your host, Izzy, and today I have with me a very special guest. Damn, yo. I should really start writing down what the intros will be when I have my guests. I just be freestyling. But I feel like my friendship with you is very much one of those things. I feel like, because there are people who, they bond over common interests.
Yeah.
There are people who just, bond over experiences. The reason why me and this man are cool is we assholes.
Yeah. Our disposition is like strikingly, shockingly the same.
Yeah, it's like, that's why me and Dame cool. We assholes.
There's a lot of like side eyes like in our like relationship, which is like we both look at dudes across the room like, I don't even know if you about what you say you about.
Yeah, like
it's a general distrust.
Yeah, like it's just not it. Like, nah, I don't rock with anything you saying over there, sir. Yo, my boy Dre is here. Yeah, I gotta get the
problem with the audience is actually people screaming in the background. But
yeah. Nah, noise canceling. You know, we gotta get that out. We edit that out in post.
Yeah.
How you doing, my brother?
I'm good, man. I've been super busy as we've breached in previous conversations. I've actually been really plugging away at this whole COVID pandemic.
You be working, man.
Yeah, I be working, man.
You came in here looking like you're the educated brother. Yeah. It was the educated brother from the bank.
Yeah, you see, that's why I got my good credit uniform on right now.
Yeah, so, I'm digging it, man. I'm digging it. Yo, because the thing is too, this is like the first time we've seen each other in person, though we talk all the time in our various Facebook groups. First time we see each other in person in like probably like over 2 years.
Yeah.
Like has to be like 2 years since we've like seen each other in person.
Because like, all right, so if we adjust time for the moments that would be that the pandemic like kind of robbed us of, there's like this weird sort of year gap in the world, right? In the world history, there's going to be like this 2-year period that's like locked out. Yeah. Just like, it was weird for those 2 years.
Yeah, it was
so we lost that initial first year.
We lost it completely, gone.
And then this year, as it's unfolded, has been kind of more of the same while we're kind of trying to find our footing.
Well, fam, I think even like me getting back, like I'm, my job, we're just now starting to get back into the office a little bit. And it's been a year and a half since we got left home. It was funny. Like I go back to my desk. It was like I fucking got like zapped away. I still have like March 2020 calendar up and like notes for things that I wrote. I was like, it looks like I passed away and like people didn't have the heart to like clear my desk.
We all like kind of collectively got Thanos snapped.
Yeah, it was like the blip. Yo. All right, fam, we podding, yo.
We podding, man. I'm excited.
Oh my God, yo, we podding here today, man.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. How are you, man? You just chilling, man?
Yeah. Life is all good. It's going at a breakneck pace right now because at both of my places of employ, I got more jobs, as you know, more jobs than a half Jamaican, half Mexican. So I be at it. So a lot of my time is being exhausted, but like I like what I'm doing. I guess I'll make it clear for the pod. For those who don't know me, who do not know my background or the field, I've been working in a lot of social services and a lot of things like that for a long time. But over the last year plus, I've been running a series of COVID testing sites and vaccination sites as well. As you can imagine, with the pandemic still raging on, it's still very, very busy work. And so I came actually straight from there to come here to kind of make it happen. Had to pop through. So
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate, as far as like you just making the time. I feel like we're not those kids anymore. As far as like time goes, bro. Like as far as like time, like we're not the like back in the days when I was young. I'm not a kid anymore. Like we don't have that time to just kind of get up like we used to.
Yeah.
Where like we used to just like all pile up at like Reek's place and just like eat chimneys and like and play video games.
So that's a beautiful segue. So like I do this thing sometimes where and it's a part of like this overall philosophy about kind of staying in the pocket of society and kind of always keeping yourself sharp. Like I always try to keep somebody, a mentor that's like 15 years older than me, and then try to keep someone who's like younger than me by like that much as well. So you kind of get like a historical perspective on things, but you also have somebody to kind of keep you young.
Yeah.
And so, you know, keeping a lot of my young people around and kind of keeping me like mentally in shape has been this kind of interesting way of kind of approaching the world as the world is kind of falling apart.
Yeah. Falling apart is a polite way to put it.
Yeah. I'm being real nice about it.
It's definitely a polite way to put it. Yeah, I remember, you know, it was funny too, because again, I think when you, at the start of everything, when people were just kind of like in their own circles, in their own spaces, kind of drifting apart, I had no idea that you were working with like the COVID everything. I didn't know you were a COVID Ranger. I didn't know you were one of the Power Rangers. I didn't know you was that. I didn't know that.
So like it's weird. So like how it kind of happened was a mixture of like luck and like circumstance. And so what happened was because my day job / real job, however you want to categorize it, was something I was doing over a year plus ago. I was a part of a team that had led the COVID response for the homeless shelter I helped run in Boston, in Chinatown. And it was one of the first real big institutions of the area to have like total like social distancing. We're going to test people kind of regularly. We're going to bust people out and make sure they get the treatment they need, because at the time it was just COVID was just like, it was like AIDS in the 80s. Like if you got this, oh my God, it's a wrap for you. So like if you remember how crazy it was, especially those first like few months, you know, end of 2020, beginning of 2021, where it was just like hospitals were doing the thing where we were making these real, almost like disaster film pop-up trauma centers. Yeah. Where hospitals were like making these outside tents and like annexing certain places. Like, I was there at the ground level. So like where dudes were just dying, like dropping like flies, and they were piling up bodies and running out of room. You know, like people who are kind of getting in tune to it now, and probably more so people who will look back on COVID years from now will not understand how scary it was, like in those first few months. So because I was involved with all of that, I had a lot of my information floating around in like the job search algorithm. You know how like when you're looking for a job, your resume and all that will just kind of be out there, so somebody can just take it. And so
they'll find you.
I got it. Yeah, so I got a random call one day, and it was just like it was some like random white woman was like, "Hey, Andre Davis," and I'm like, "Yeah, who this?" Like I'm like, "Do I know money to anybody? Like what's going on?" So I'm already sweating. You know what I mean? Like so having an official voice and like no one calls me by my government. Like. No one calls me Andre Davis. Like, that's a weird thing to me.
I felt weird even hearing it out loud.
Yeah. So she starts on, like, as I'm trying to cut her off and, like, basically hang up because I'm, like, heated. Like, who are you to call me? And she starts going on this, like, rant about, you know, my job experience and about I worked here and here and here for how many years. And you seem like you'd be a good fit. And I'm like, who the hell is this? Like, because she's telling me my whole life story. And I'm like, you work for the government? Like, what is this? So she finally cuts to the chase. She's like, oh, I'm sorry to make you uncomfortable, but, like, we're looking for somebody to lead a team. And I'm like, lead a team? I'm like, yeah, I'm like, Avengers? Like, what's up?
Yo, the Avengers.
So she's like, no, we're going to open up these, like, pop-up chains of, like, COVID testing sites. We think you'd be the perfect person to, like, lead everyone. And I'm like, go on.
Oh, my God.
So we started talking figures and whatnot, and it actually ended up being on the up and up. I ended up hooking up with this businessman from out of town. It was me and him in a little tiny office inside the Dunkin' Donuts Center, and then they were like, okay, here's what it is. We need you to hire like 40 people within 2 days and then start running this place. And I'm like, I can do that. So we've since expanded to about like 7 or 8 sites. Ran a vaccination site out of the Dunk for a while until we closed that down. And so as the pandemic has kind of gotten worse, and then there was a nationwide spike, we had to expand again and then start building sites. Because for a while, we were actually kind of shutting down. Yeah. And then numbers jumped through the roof, and then positives jumped through the roof. And then the Delta, which we'll get into later, became all the rage. So, yeah, I've been real busy.
Fam, I mean, it's insane work. And I do remember, like, that period of time where it was just, like, I remember, like, one of the first times that I got a COVID test was at the convention center. Yeah. And, like, it legitimately felt like the movie I Am Legend in the beginning where he's just like when he's going to get tested, he's with his family and it's just like the government is just like there, And in my mind, I'm like, yo, if I test positive for this thing right here, they're going to snatch me up on spot. Like, I'm not leaving here.
That was a very common, like, conception, too.
Like, it was like, yo, like, I'm not leaving here if I'm positive. There's no way. Like, these people are, like, they're here for this shit.
It's funny you say that because I remember towards the beginning when we first expanded and one of the first places that we annexed was, I'm not going to remember the school name, but it was a school in Central Falls, like a middle school or something.
Middle school of Central
and
Falls?
They gave us, to me, Central Falls is like a square mile, so like everything's on the same street.
Yeah, everything's on the same street. It's all like,
bro, it's so small.
It's middle school of Central Falls. It's the only middle school.
Bro,
of Central Falls.
I remember the first time, like, you know how that strange freedom you get when you're finally on the road by yourself driving?
Mm-hmm.
And like I remember the first big drive I took, I ended up going through Central Falls, and I needed to like meet a homie out there, something like that. And so I'm driving, and I remember I'm trying to find his place. This is like pre like GPS, before when GPS were like all the rage, and it was like they were like buying a PlayStation 1 the first week it came out, and it was like $800.
Yeah,
so no one had GPS.
There was no way you could get a GPS.
I'm trying to find this dude's house where I'm supposed to meet him at, and I got to cut through Central Falls. And I missed the turn because I didn't realize how small Central Falls were. So, like, I went through the street, and it was like, I went through the light, and I wasn't in Central Falls anymore. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, it's that quick.
But, yeah. But anyway, so, so the school. So, we had a contract with Central Falls where they would basically give us half the building to run a site out of.
Yeah.
And the first big meeting we had on the day we were taking over for the military, because it was in charge, it was being ran by the National Guard at the time. And so, you know, I'm meeting with like a few of the guys, soldiers, military brass and whatnot. And they're like, yeah, you know, maybe you guys have better luck than us because, you know, we've been having difficulty with some of the residents in the area. And I'm like, well, damn, like, what's the problem? They're like, yeah, well, they seem to not really want to come to get tested. And I'm like, hi, black dude from the projects, let me just, can I interject?
Let me chime in here, sir.
And I'm straight to the point. I'm like, they don't trust you.
Yeah.
And they're like, what do you mean they don't trust us? We're the military. Everybody loves us. Like, He-Man. Like, no.
Get out of here. G.I. Joe.
And
like,
so, dude got visibly, like, offended. And so I'm looking at my boss, and he's looking at me like, do we really want to go on this road? And I'm like, listen, don't ask me my opinion if you don't want to be sincere. So I'm going to hold back. But dude's, like, still kind of poking and prodding at it. And it's like, what do you mean they don't trust? I'm like, you guys are military dudes. There's a global health crisis going on. In order for these people to get these services, they need to show up, give you their information, give them ID where they live. You're going to take that and then do what with it? The vast majority of these people, or at least a significant portion of them, are undocumented. So police and military are here. You have arrest powers.
Yeah.
Like, if anything goes down, you can respond in a way that would subdue them. And you want these people who do not have papers to basically put their lives in your hands for the sake of health. I wouldn't trust you either.
Yeah.
And the dude sat and thought about it and was like,
copy.
Nah.
Oh
he wasn't trying to have it. So
yo,
I was just like, okay, you know what? That's at that point, my boss was like, just let it ride. Like, they're not gonna see it. So
yo, I don't get it, man. Yo, it'd be like that. I have seen that kind of shit happen. Matter of fact, before we get into the funky shit, we got a bunch of topics here, and I know we're gonna get real greasy with it. Let's talk real quick about the Delta variant, so that way we can move that around and get it out the way. Because I feel like we end on that. It's gonna it's gonna mess up the whole room. Yo. Anyway, so this is why all of you guys are dying. So yo, okay. All right, yo, check that out next week. Like, yo, fam, like I can't end on that. So let's get into this variant thing.
I'm gonna drink on that one.
I need a drink. Oof. So I remember, anyway, because I mentioned it previously on the podcast, maybe like 1 or 2 episodes ago, about the Delta variant is kind of out here. Like, let's, we gotta be a little cautious because one of my boys, he's in the field. He had mentioned it to me, just whatever. This is my boy in the field. Mentioned me, Delta variant is out here.
I don't know how I got here, by the way.
Yo,
all of a sudden I became like the expert, and my inbox be popping.
Yeah, Captain COVID.
I can't even run. I gotta own it now. It's over.
You Captain COVID now, man. Come on. But I mean, it's such a weird. So this Delta variant.
Yeah.
It's weird for a few reasons. The whole thing is weird because obviously everyone still has to. The vaccine is still getting pushed heavily. I'll keep it a buck. Which for some of our viewers, that means I'm being honest. I would not have gotten vaccinated had it not been required by my job.
Okay, that's a very common.
I think for me, because, and it could be, I mean, again, I had, conversations with my physician, and I was like, yo, like, I had it was fine, like, I went through it, whatever. He gave me, the spiel and all that, and then my job made it required. I was like, all right, like, this ain't the battle that I'm finna fight right now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna turn into the, like, COVID Kaepernick about it. Like, there's no way. I can't be that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna be the one who's gonna kneel for the vaccine, like, against the vaccine. Like, nah,
that'd be a weird hill to die on. Literally.
No, it would be.
And you would.
Yo, but that's
Probably.
why.
Probably.
But that's why I was just like, yo, family, all right, like, I'll get vaccinated. My job wants me to get vaccinated. All right, I'll do it. And that's what got me vaccinated. Pfizer boys, we out here.
Team Pfizer all day. We in here.
But yeah, I definitely still know a lot of people who aren't vaccinated. A lot of loved ones who aren't vaccinated. And again, I'm like, yo, I guess for me, the thing about the vaccine that gets me is kind of it's the push. It's the how mandatory it is, and like that's the point. And I think that's where a lot of skepticism does come into play, because then it feels like a bit of a double back. It's like, yo, like, the vaccine, you got to get it, but it doesn't protect you from the Delta variant. So
yeah.
Like, yo, fam, what?
All right, so I knew two things when we were kind of ping ponging ideas off and talking about like topics and whatnot. When we had kind of discussed this was going to be one of the topics, I knew I was going to have to be one or two people, and so as we kind of go through this topic, it's going to be the area of the pod where I'm going to have to be the most focused, because there's two hats I'm going to have to wear.
Do you think?
So I'm going to be attacking this from the angle of myself, and then someone who's a little closer to it, and kind of give you some knowledge. So the thing with the COVID vaccine skepticism, now I understand where that comes from. That's warranted. First of all, you kind of have to control for the fact that you're asking Black and brown people to sign up to get a shot. That's always always going to be contentious. Man. And it's one of those things where you're really going to have to be careful about how you market it to people, because it's such a sensitive, like, fault line to mess with. Like, so do you remember, but do you remember for a while they were trying really hard to, like, get Black people to get the vaccine? And then, like, 2 to 3 of the people who they marketed died?
No.
Like, was it like Hank Aaron and I don't mean to laugh. I really don't mean to laugh.
I don't know, but like,
bro, the timing is just like, all right, hold on. I gotta collect myself.
Yeah.
Hold on.
But
bro, he died like 3 days later, bro. Okay. Sorry, we have to end it because this is gonna look horrible.
All right.
I love Hank Aaron.
Yeah.
Hank Aaron's a legend.
But
he's one of my great sports heroes, an incredible man. Arguably one of the greatest baseball players ever. But damn it, y'all had this man get this shot. And then,
I hate that I'm laughing right now too.
I'm gonna have to forgive myself.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. I should have known myself and known that it would not have been a good idea to make that point. But it made the point stick the landing.
Yeah. No, we got there. Yeah.
But all right, we got through it. But so the marketing of the vaccine was not intelligently done. And that's me speaking as myself, not as someone who involved with the process.
Yeah.
So Black people are skeptical. Black and brown people are skeptical. People who live in poor areas are skeptical. And they have reason to be skeptical. It's not like that's unfair. The problem that we also have to factor in is that people are susceptible to disinformation. And there are people, news organizations, and forces out there who are incentivized to be dishonest about those certain things. And so people who heard the very small handful of cases that went sideways latched onto that, and that was the sort of proof that they needed that the vaccine didn't work or wasn't worth taking. And it's like, the thing about science is it's fluid, and science very often finds things, arrives at conclusions, and then changes those conclusions with new information. But that, I think it's like the meme that's going on right now. It's like science didn't lie to you, it's just like the information changed.
Yeah.
But some people take that as the lie. It's like, no, you learned new information and you changed your position. And so the biggest problem I saw with that is that they really shouldn't have called it a vaccine.
Yeah.
So people hear the word vaccine and there's a certain connotation to it, right?
Secure.
People,
People
hear it and they think it's like you being given an Iron Man suit against everything. It's like, no. What a COVID vaccine is it's your best fighting chance against it. So if you have the vaccine, very good chance you are not going to pass away from it. That's like all it can really guarantee you, if it's going to make any guarantees, is that very good chance you maybe won't die. Meaning, still could. You still get it up in the hospital. You can still get it. All those things. But like that's a lot of fine print to write and to have to stick to. It's just, it was already not being marketed well.
Yeah.
The thing is though, if that's your angle, they quote unquote are trying to get us. Well, I mean, if that was the case, it wouldn't have also been marketed to rich people. You wouldn't have seen celebrities climbing over each other to get the vaccine.
Yeah.
Like if they were like, this vaccine's available only to you poor people in the black neighborhoods, we'd have been like, because they don't ever give us anything first. Like, you know what I mean? So it's you have to do battle with that. And so for me, as someone who was on the front lines and had to like field all these questions from my aunties and like my grandmother, who by the way still won't get it. her whole thing is just like, I just won't leave the house ever again. I'm like, fine, that's fine. I'll deal with that. As long as she has her mask and all good, she's good with it. But yeah, I don't know. It's one of those situations where disinformation is a really, really strong thing to have to combat. And it's really rampant on social media. And, you know, as the old saying goes, a lie can get around the world while the truth is still putting its pants on. So, did I answer your question? Did I rant a little bit?
No, I think that's a perfect, I think that perfectly answers the question. Because I think it provides insight as far as just from like a marketing standpoint where it's like, yo, bad news will always travel faster than good news. Yeah. So like, I don't like, yo, I got vaccinated. I didn't have any terrible side effects. I'm here.
Oh, I did.
You know what I'm saying? You did?
It was worth it though. It was worth it.
You know, I think the feeling that I had, I think I mentioned it on the pod, when I got vaccinated, it felt like I had like diet COVID.
Okay.
Like that's how I felt getting the vaccine. I felt like I had diet COVID for a day.
I mean, work is cool. They gave me a week off. That was decent.
You know what's funny? I mean, like my job, even when I got COVID, my job offered me time off. Yeah. And I like declined it because when I got the vaccine, they were like, yo, like, you know, you want to take a few days off? I was like, nah, like I'm fine. Like I feel good. And then when I got COVID, because I was working from home already, they were like, yo, like, you know, you want to like take, like, yo, they're offering 2 weeks off. Like, you want to take 2 weeks? I was like, nah, I'm going to be bored at home. Like, I got nothing to do for 2 weeks. It's like, I need something to like just help
that
pass
strange
the time.
freedom. Like, cause, you know, when you're a kid and you're in elementary school, being home is like Shangri-La, you know what I mean? Like, nothing is better than, I don't have to go to school, but then you're home and like, you know, your parents at work. And you're just home.
Bored. Like, what are you doing?
It's fun for 2 days.
Yo, fam, yes. And that's how I'm like, in my mind, I already like foresaw that, where it was just like, yo, like being home for 2 weeks and not needing to work.
At some point, you've eaten all the cereal, you played all the video games.
I did everything. Now what?
Everything. Like, now you're just home.
Yeah, and at some point, I would have logged onto my computer and be like, yo, what y'all doing? Yo, what y'all doing? What are y'all up to? Yo, what you doing? Like, you still working on that thing? Like,
that's where that road ends, man.
Yeah, so I mean, I definitely think that makes perfect sense. At this point, I think what I just urge people like, yo, like, just be safe. Do your best to be safe.
As I told one of the patients that came by today, it's really all about minimizing risk. So, there's no guarantee that you can't get COVID. In a sense that's also an extension of my kind of personal belief system. Anyway, I don't think there's any guarantees of anything in life. And so you just have to make moves that make it a less likely affair.
You heard it here, folks. We outside. We
go to all the concerts. The smaller, the better.
Yo, we outside, baby.
Go to a rock concert. Make sure it's a small room. Stay on top of somebody.
Yo, fam, I'm not gonna hold you. All right, so I've definitely like this summer. Full transparency. I've been in a few situations where in my mind I'm like, I'm totally rolling the dice by being here. Yeah. Like, I'm definitely rolling the dice by being here. I definitely
went to a house party and I was like, yo, why am I like the only fool in here with a mask on? Bro?
Yo,
like,
nah, fam. Like, I've gone on vacation and like been in like crowded clubs and like, I'm fine now. In case you're wondering.
Can I ask you something? Do you get like a strange sensation when you're in a room with people who you know are all vaccinated? Because I'd be like, like,
Yeah.
like dead ass. I'd be like, yo, we saved as hell in here,
Yo,
bro.
you know what's
like,
funny? I felt that way. So I had that feeling when I went back to the office because I knew that like we got back to the office maybe like a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
But like the vaccine mandate was like in June or July. So I'm like, us getting back to the office, we're all together. I'm like, man, we all vaccinated. Look at us.
Yo, everybody's ceremonial, like snatch the mask off, just kind of look at each other, give each other that Mr. Perfect pose. Like,
yeah, look at
we
us.
in here.
Look at us. We still gotta wear masks though in the office. I can't even hold you. Yeah. Indoors.
What? No, I'm
Indoors
on
only.
some like I don't trust anybody anyway. So my default is I mask up before I go anything.
I mean, I think since I've been vaccinated, I've definitely been like face out more. Like,
also too, like because I have seasonal allergies. So if I get even like a sniffle, I'm like, and I just test myself at work real quick.
Oh my! Is that like you just have like a little portable like handy dandy?
Well, like I run sites,
So you can
like
just get tested anytime.
Yeah,
Privilege.
anytime.
Look at you, yo. You're so privileged now.
What was it like? I think it was like who pulled up to my crib one time, just like needing masks, and I was like, got you.
Damn.
Yo, had you not known me, legit looked like a drug deal. Because I just came down with like a bag and I just like slid it to it real quick. He pulled up, dapped me up, and I was like, bro, all right, let me know if you need any more. That was just it.
All right. What are we even talking about?
Yeah.
What are we even talking about? All right. So I think just
what a way to open, man. Damn.
Fam. I don't even know where. Like, I'm trying to think of like what's the best place to go. And for me, I feel like there's really no better place to go than to talk about Lil Nas X.
Oh,
like,
wow! You playing games?
Yeah.
The funny thing, I was thinking about on the way over here, like if you were going to play with the lineup a little bit, and I was like, I kind of hope he does.
Yeah. I gotta fill it out. I like to fill it.
Yeah.
I try not to make my lineup in like sequential order because I'm like I have to feel out the conversation. Like I don't want to force it in different directions.
I've actually thought, speaking from a fan, first of all, just of like good cinema, but like also a low key fan of like Tarantino work. I've always liked that he plays with timelines.
Yeah.
Like I've always liked it. I know people who hate it. They're like, no, give me a linear story.
Nah.
I want it to start here and here. And it's like, bro, no. You get so many different perspectives just from seeing it out of order.
And that's why, like normally I feel like I just try to follow the conversations like, yo, like what will make the most sense? And I think that's why I'm like, yo, like we talk about all this, yo, we gotta go with like as cheerful as possible. We're gonna talk about this Lil Nas X shit.
Yeah.
Lil Nas X, who for what felt like months has been pregnant and is finally giving birth to his official debut album, his baby, Montero. A couple of weeks ago, there was a post in one of the Facebook groups that we're in, and we were talking about who is an artist.
I love this.
Who you love, but music you really can't. You're just not a fan of the music.
You love them as a person, but you can't rock with their music.
Yeah, you love them as a person, but you can't rock with the music. I said Lil Nas X.
Yeah.
I'm not wild about his music, but man, are his antics and personality, everything. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I love the marketing. I love the feeding,
bro, like can I tell you something, bro? Like I love that you suggested this topic, but ever since you did, it's had me like on an emotional like roller coaster.
Oh, because it's wild.
Because I'm being pulled in so many different directions. Like, all right, so let me start from my beginning position. I like Lil Nas X. Let me start there.
Yeah.
I have no problem with his behavior whatsoever. I will say, if we gonna get into it on some real shit, his music is not of high quality enough to justify the attention that he's getting.
Absolutely not.
You know what I mean? And so, I say this while rooting for him, by the way. I hope he wins. I hope he gets all the stuff. I hope he makes money. We have to ask ourselves, and be honest when we ask ourselves, would someone of similar talent level to Lil Nas X be getting the market share, be getting the talent, getting the attention, the money, obviously, that Lil Nas X is getting? Because he's blowing.
Yeah.
In a way that, like, the most talented insert artist here is not getting. You know what I mean? And like, I'm trying to figure out how exactly I feel about that. Because I'm a disgruntled rap fan for a long time. And how many times we sat around and be like, damn, I wish Talib Kweli was bigger.
Yeah.
I wish Mos Def was bigger.
Yeah.
I wish, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's a part of you that feels like almost like bitter about it. Like, damn, bro. Like
this is what's getting the numbers.
Like, all my favorite artists had to do was like give birth, which by the way, I think is one of the laziest metaphors ever. But that's all you had to do to really get on?
I think,
Again, I like Lil Nas X. I'm not saying I don't like him. And what's the joint he does with, there's a joint of his that I really, really love every time it comes on. The Panini joint.
Oh, Panini?
Panini's my joint.
Panini's your joint?
I love Panini. I wanted to not like it, and I couldn't not like it.
You know what's funny? And I don't know if it's like one of his songs. I think one of his songs is in Fortnite.
Word. I actually haven't heard a new album, by the way. Maybe I should take some time for this.
I've not heard it. I won't be. I will not be. No,
I've heard good things, but as we'll lead into, I've already been damaged by one review this week. I was told the NBA 2K22 was revolutionary, and yeah, I want all 70 of my dollars back.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. But I think Lil Nas, so one of his songs is in Fortnite. Okay. Only reason why I know one of his songs is in Fortnite, I believe, because I heard Mason singing a song, and I was like, the fuck are you singing? And it wasn't until much later that I realized it must have played in passing somewhere. I was like, it's not Lil Nas X. My son was singing the Lil Nas X track. And again, because first off, people who are saying, that him being so outwardly gay is affecting kids, fam, knock it off. Knock that shit the fuck off.
Yeah, okay. So because we tend to be on the same wavelength with this, I'm gonna actually go where you're going, where I think you're going.
Yeah.
So the thing with Lil Nas X, man, like if we're going to have a nuanced conversation about his quote unquote antics or controversy or whatnot, what exactly is he doing that we actually haven't seen before? In terms of level or content, like what is he actually is what he's doing any weirder than Lady Gaga wearing a meat dress?
Fam, no. And honestly, I don't know if he said "fuck your kids." I don't know if he actually said that.
I hope he did,
but I hope he did.
I hope he did. That's the energy I'm on anyway.
Fair, because I'm on that energy. I think people get so lazy when it comes to when it comes to their arguments, and that idea of every celebrity.
Somebody please think of the children.
Think of the children. Every person on television is not supposed to be a role model to your children.
Why do I gotta help you raise your kids?
Why? I'm not a role model to your kids.
Bro, do you know how much nonsense I absorbed being left alone with a television when I was a kid?
I would understand if Lil Nas X was doing all this shit on fucking Nick Jr. or on Cartoon Network or some shit. He's literally not being I'm not marketing for kids.
So we're definitely on the same wave. So where I landed at with this is the only difference I can really see is he's doing XYZ, whatever he's doing, he's simply doing it while being gay. And that is the difference.
And also, and I don't know your thoughts on it, but I do feel like there is an added layer as far as him being a gay black man.
Yeah.
Where
that can sell records too, and that's important.
Yeah, and that's an added layer because fam.
Yeah, because culturally, right, that was always kind of the last frontier. That was the last real barrier. Because we know there's been gay dudes in music for a long time. The gay black dudes, Luther Vandross had to hide it his whole career. So that element has always been there. But the question was always, can you be marketable? Can we sell your records? What are you gonna sing about? Can you sing about love? Do people want to hear about a love song from a gay dude when it's written for a man? You know what I mean? There's all these other underlying questions. Lil Nas X seems to be consistently marketable and his records sell.
Yeah.
And so I think that's obviously a big reason why a huge corner of the internet and whatnot is so big mad about it. But the fact that he is winning, maybe that's really the source of my fandom for him that I do have. It's he's a thumb in the face of people being idiots. And I love that. I love the fuck you energy I get from Lil Nas X. You know what I'm saying? And he seems to be willing to punch back at his critics. What really won me over? Oh, the tweet. I'm sure you've seen it or heard about it. But it was whenever he did the last big gay thing he did, I want to say this was about a year old.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, yo, the next person that tweets some homophobic shit to me is getting kissed. And I was just like, that's my guy.
Yeah, I love it.
If I would have knew where let's say Lil Nas X lived in Providence, I'd have went to his house, rang the doorbell just to dap him up.
Yo, fam, yes. Yo, it was that tweet. Because, yo, the two tweets that I loved from him was that one. And then when he said, when he said, like, yo, every time I hear someone say, anytime I hear someone say, like, yo, you're gay, we get it. It's like, I get even gayer. I get gayer every time.
Yeah.
Yo. Yeah. Yeah. Quick segue.
Yeah.
So, background, everyone knows I'm Dominican. Dominicans are, ethnically, we're black, right?
Except for, I know black Dominicans. We don't count them.
Yeah, right? So, my upbringing, though, I've always identified as black, but culturally, it is a different upbringing.
Sure.
Right? So, you just grow up in different circles, you know different things, and you're just kind of exposed to different things. Up until this very moment right now, I had no idea what you said about Luther.
Really?
I swear to God. This very moment. And I don't know if it was something that maybe, you go to different meetings than I do. You go to the different meetings that I do. It's different. Different cookouts. We talk about different things.
Especially now with the pandemic, no cookouts.
So it's just, it's always been different interactions growing up. So for me, Luther was just not talked about at my Dominican Thanksgivings. Yes. Though we black, but you saying that so casually, I was just like, yo, have all black people known this the whole time and I didn't know?
So there's certain elephant in the room things that have always kind of been in the black community. And one of those things was always he's gay, right?
Yo,
we didn't talk about it. It's like having having a cousin with a drug problem. Yeah. You know what I mean? We act like it's not the problem that it is.
Yeah.
Not to say that being gay is a problem, but so the thing is, we are willing to grant passes to certain individuals and overlook certain things if the meat of what you are or what we know you for is exceeding great.
Yeah,
so Luther saying so good, we were like, we don't care.
We're not gonna bother you about it.
We're not even gonna talk about it.
You don't want to come out. We ain't finna bother you about it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shout out to the black community for leaving Luther alone.
There's a few secrets we held on to for a while. All of them seem to happen 80s-ish, by the way, too.
Dang. Go, Luther. All right, damn.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah. Well, I didn't know that about Luther till right now, I swear.
Yeah, wow. It's so funny. The secret of that time that's always kind of really thrown me, though, the one I always love, and you'll probably appreciate this is a mic stand. But, I love how the 2 pages of history where Michael Jackson was sleeping with Diana Ross just isn't talked about. Because not only is it something that's known, the evidence is there. If you look on YouTube and look at the videos from him from 79 to 82,
it was there.
She had this weird infatuation with him.
Yeah.
Where her career was on a downslide. So she started hanging with him and latching onto him to kind of siphon some of his fame.
Yeah.
And it ended up working. Her next 5 records sold. But before that, she was dead in the water. She was Nas before Ether.
Yeah.
So but it messed Mike up because it's there's a certain level of wins you need to be at a certain point in your life to be able to handle having.
Yeah.
So it's why child stars are always messed up because you can't give a 12-year-old $20 million and expect them to live a normal life. So he had the baddest chick on the planet before he had really developed into a full man. So this dude is 21 years old. He's rocking Diana Ross on GP. And so it messed him up. So all those, if you look at it, the clues are in the music.
Yeah.
So Remember the Time is about her.
Yep. Absolutely.
Dirty Diana, it's so obvious that no one actually looked at it that way.
Yo, I feel I think with that one, it was one of those instances where it was so obvious it was just don't even.
No one's not even gonna go there.
Yo, we're not even gonna talk about it.
It's clearly not about her.
We're not even.
No one would put that in the music.
We're not gonna talk about it. Oh, look at the video. It's not even we're not even. We're gonna leave that one alone.
All
it's
the weird obvious stuff, all the apprehensiveness, all the strange, barely there relationships with women. It's because that messed his mind up. He won too early. You can't get that. That can't be.
That can't be. Yeah.
That can't be what sends you on your merry way. You won't be good.
Nah, never.
Yeah. Izzy, here's $40 million for your 14th birthday. Live a normal life. Don't buy a helicopter.
Go on and be normal, please. Just be normal.
Yeah, pull up to the prom in a regular car, Izzy. But we went off on a tangent there. I'm sorry. Yeah. Luther Vandross is gay. Luther was so gay.
I didn't know that. Yo, shout out to Luther. Damn, okay.
Sang his gay ass off. I love Luther.
Damn. All right. So, moving on, you had mentioned it earlier. NBA 2K22 is out. I have many moons ago stopped playing 2K.
Yeah, maybe that's where I need to go. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Because, I mean, I just think, and it was funny. I think Phil might have mentioned this before, that it doesn't make sense for any video game series to really come out every year. Does not make sense. It doesn't need to happen. It's not. Before, it used to be because, there was no other way to get all the new players from as the teams have changed. I think there was no way to get the new players in. There's no way to get the rookies into the game. Fam, there's now DLCs. Like, you can download stuff. Patches can get put out. All of that is available. Y'all don't need to try and put out a game every year, because he used to say this about the WWE game. Like, yo, this comes out every year.
Yeah.
It ain't worth it, fam.
Yeah. All right. So, again, I introduced this topic, everybody. And I brought it up out of frustration because, we had, as a crew within one of the Facebook groups, that talked about NBA 2K22, and it's something that's we're kind of aware when it's on the cusp of being released or completed or whatever. And I was already not excited about this year coming up because my relationship with it is almost one of abuse at this point. I'm used to being disappointed, and so it was about to come out, and I waited around for a couple of weeks, and I'm waiting for the news drop from one of our comrades to be like, you know what, I bought 2K22. This is what I feel about it, and no one had bought it yet. And so I'm kind of waiting. When I hear anything, I'm like, maybe someone bought it in secret, didn't say anything yet. And, I was out late one night. It was after a training session with my personal trainer, and I'm like, you know what, let me just go buy it. So I went to go buy it, try to get a PS5. They were like, no. And so
but you can get NBA 2K.
I was like, let me just get NBA 2K22 since I can't get a PS5. Took it home. I played one game. So I'm gonna go into the details of this game just to explore my frustration with it. So whenever you buy NBA 2K, the first setup they have for Expedition is whatever the finals was last year. So
okay. Yep.
It's Suns Bucks.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let me play as the Bucks because I want to see if I can clamp somebody defensively with Drew Holiday. That's what I wanted to do. I'm like, let me see if I can make Chris Paul not be able to do anything, because Chris Paul looked 89 in the finals.
Yeah.
So I turned the game on and I couldn't shoot and I couldn't defend, and I'm almost looking at my hands I know how to play this game. I remember getting NBA 2K when it first came out for Dreamcast. I've been playing this shit for 20 years.
Yeah. I
know how to play the game, and you might as well have been speaking to me in hieroglyphics. I had no idea what I was doing. And so I'm like, okay, maybe it's just I'm kind of not getting it. And by the end of the fourth quarter, I was losing by 25. I'm getting smoked. And I'm like, it's not I have it on Hall of Fame difficulty. It's just regular. And I'm getting destroyed. By the end of the game, I was kind of in the game, and then I lost again in the fourth quarter. I ended up going off with Giannis for 44 points, 10 assists, 13 rebounds, 5 blocks. I put up a Wilt Chamberlain stat line. I lost by 20. And I was just this game is bullshit. And so I played 4 different exhibition games since then, and it's crystallized sort of what you've been going into. Where is it worth it to have a game that we simply regurgitate every year without any major changes? Because it's what you really mainly go there for is the roster update, right? I'm certain that's a button click. Are we really thinking that there's some real serious programming going into adding a Zion Williamson or a Cade into the game?
No, it can't be. Because I remember even years back where 2K would literally they would give you the roster update for the previous game and kind of maintain it almost when you have an old phone.
Yeah.
And they'll still give you phone updates for for a little bit. They would do that with 2K. So I remember I think it was 2K7. We would game that for a bit longer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe it was maybe a good 6 months into like the 2K8 run, but we were still playing 2K7. I was like, yo, like we don't really need to make the jump yet.
Yeah, so I'm getting the sense, and it's one of those like one of those conspiracy theories that in all likelihood are probably true. But I've long suspected that what the 2K offices do with the game when it's time to like start working on the development and whatnot is like, rather than do the hard work of having to actually put in some real work and make a really important like game that like is revolutionary and like takes leaps forward, you can just remove some things, right?
Yeah.
Deal with the backlash. Maybe you lose a few points in reviews here and there, but for the core hardcore people, they'll be happy. And then 2-3 games later, you can then introduce that thing like it's a new feature. Yeah. Like the wrestling games did that for a long time.
Yeah, in GM mode?
I remember they took out casket match mode when that was all the rage, and then they brought it back 3 games later, and we were like, oh!
Fam, nah, I think the biggest feature that they got rid of for like 3 years, I remember when they brought it back, we lost our minds. Eliminations and matches? Fam, I remember all of us were just like, yo, like, why can't this be a thing?
Yeah.
And then they finally brought it back, and we were just like, yo, this is the greatest game ever.
Yeah. So I suspect in the sort of yearly release games, it's like, if we actually listen to, you know, fan demands and complaints and actually work to make this really remarkable masterpiece of a game, then we're going to have to do the hard job of like following that up, right? So what if we, you know, made a game that, you know, some people would be upset with, and maybe we lose a few sales here, but like, and again, this goes to my major problem. It's like, where you gonna go? Would you want to play basketball? Like, if you want to play some basketball video game, you got to go through me. Where you gonna go? You gonna play live?
No. No, yo, what are you gonna do? There's really no other option.
There's no other, they got you by the balls. There's nowhere you can go.
Yeah.
You don't like WWE 2K, whatever? Okay, cool. Play the other wrestling game.
I'll wait.
You know what I mean? You don't have choices. I guess you're just gonna have to like take what we're giving you and shut up.
Yeah.
Download our DLC. Too bad.
Too bad. Too bad. So sad. Yeah. That's what it be like though. That's how they get you.
And I hate that because it's like, again, what you gonna do? You gonna grab a bunch of your buddies and pick it down in like 2K offices? Update your game, please. Like, you have no power. None.
I mean, yeah, pretty much. While we're on the topic of wrestling games,
yeah, go ahead.
I think it's a perfect segue.
Yeah.
All Elite Wrestling, AEW. They're working on a video game.
I've seen it. I want it to be good so badly.
I want it to be so amazing. The reason why I mentioned the video game is because I've heard rumblings of the inclusion of Owen Hart in the video game. So that takes us to our big story in real sports. Owen Hart is All Elite. For those of you who don't know, for ever now since his passing in 98, I want to say something like that. 98 or 99. I can't remember. I know 99. It was 99.
Yeah, I was actually watching it.
In May at the Over the Edge pay-per-view. Owen Hart tragically passed away from an accident.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Owen Hart. Owen Hart's widow completely holds WWE responsible for the whole thing.
Because they are.
And they 100% are. And that'll also be a perfect segue to our next topic. But they 100% are. And she's never allowed them to use his likeness again. He's not in the Hall of Fame. He's never been in any WWE video game since his passing. He's just not in anything. No merchandise, no nothing.
Hot take, Owen Hart's better than Brett. I'll die on that hill.
Yeah. I agree.
I'll take all the hands and all the hate that come with it. I don't care, bro.
Nah,
I saw them both at their peaks. I'm sorry. Owen could do 90% of what Brett can do, but was a better athlete. Could do like weird, different, like chain wrestling. He could wrestle against anybody. He could wrestle in Japan.
Yeah, Owen Hart.
Way more versatile.
I also just have a natural disdain for Bret Hart as like a Shawn
Why
Michaels.
Cool?
Yo, man, like as like a Shawn Michaels lover. I just have a natural disdain.
I have come around to Bret. I'll say that though. I have come around on Bret. I like him more than I used to, which used to be none.
I have a natural disdain for Bret Hart. I'm just like, I'm cool. I don't really. Nah. Bret Hart and Sting are just two people that I'll never really be a fan of. Because Bret Hart,
everybody's got those guys, man.
Yo, I'll never. And people always like, yo, you're not you was never a fan of Sting. So yo, fam, I refuse to believe that a man was clearing out a whole ring full of dudes by just throwing chops. Like, yo, I'm not buying that. I'm
Yeah.
not buying it. I'm sorry. I'm not. I refuse to buy it.
Monday Night Wars had dudes tripping.
Yo, fam, like, yo,
There's a whole bunch of things that were flying that really just shouldn't have.
Yo, like, he was, like, you're telling me he went into a ring where there was 20 dudes in and cleared it out by throwing chops?
And nobody notices coming from the rafters. Like, no one sees this.
No one sees him fiddling with his fucking harness?
Coming down mad slow.
Like, fam. Nah, fam, nah.
And I thought Perfect was better than Brett. But we can have that fight another day.
Yeah.
We can have that fight another day. But
so Owen Hart's widow, has signed a deal now with All Elite Wrestling. They're gonna have an Owen Hart tournament. There's gonna be Owen Hart merchandise, Owen Hart in the video game, and proceeds of that are gonna be going to Owen Hart's charity.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
So, like, I'm a fan of all that, but can we just take a moment to acknowledge the, like, sheer petty of that move?
Fam.
Bro. That's like, yo, you going out with a shorty, y'all break up, and you start dating her best friend, and you wave to her from across the room.
Yo, fam. Yeah. Like, yo. And the thing is, too, is like, yo, like, because, yo, Owen Hart was always amazing. He was always great in his own right. He spent some, like, he really, like, planted his flag. It was in WWE.
Yeah.
Like, that's where, like, people, like, really got to, like, love and experience Owen Hart.
He was also booked horribly, though, too. In retrospect, they never really found the right role for him. Because he was too talented. It was just like...
A, he was too good. B, they were still in that phase of, like, yo, you got to be big.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't really know how to, like, book... They didn't really know how to book small dudes with the exception of, like, Brett and, like, Shawn.
Yeah, but the move for that was just to put the heavyweight strap on him and just call it a day. Like, they still... I thought they could have booked Michael differently that way, too.
No, because I think with Owen... I think it was still in a time, in like a phase of time in wrestling where it was just like, yo, there's no room to roll the dice.
Yeah.
We can't just put the strap and like not know how this is gonna work out.
Yeah.
Like we don't, like they weren't the monopoly that they are today, where like, fam, like yo, we had Jinder Mahal as a world champion. That happened. Jack Swagger held the world title at one point.
Yeah.
Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, yo, like Sheamus is about to hit Ric Flair numbers of world titles.
Yeah.
Like,
we're also forgetting too, like, as far as the Monday Night Wars is concerned, yeah, Owen Hart was doing his best work at the time, but we're forgetting WWE was getting their ass kicked. Like, it wasn't, we act like it was a straight up rivalry. They were getting washed bad. Like, it was, they came out, they happened to win because WCW just wasn't ran well. Like, that's really what did them in. Yeah. It wasn't so much that you won, it's that you all run a race and, like, your opponent fell. Yeah. Like, that's literally what happened.
Just waited it out.
But, like, they had better, ironically enough, because this is what WWE does best, right? They do the storyline and the long development of, like, angles and, like, programs, right? And WCW was actually even beating them at that. Yeah. And what WCW always had over WWE was that they were on some, like, raucous records type stuff, right? It was like, we're meat and potatoes wrestling. We don't have, you know, midgets in the main event. Yeah. We're not going to market a clown. We're not going to, like, all crazy. Like, I think Yankum DDS was, like, an IC, like, contender. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he was like, on promo posters, bro. Like, a dentist was a character. Like, that's the stuff WWE was doing.
I'll be honest, and mind you, yes, Glenn Jacobs went on to be amazing as Kane.
That was luck.
Right? Definitely luck. Like, but my thing about it, though, is if I'm him and I'm watching Britt Baker at AEW get a dentist gimmick over, I'm sick. I'm sick. Because, yo, every time she comes out, mind you, she's a heel. Yeah. She's a heel champion. Yeah. She comes out, and every time she says her name, the entire crowd says DDS. Fam, I'm sick.
Yeah. But, again, so this goes back to the point, though, about the Monday Night Wars. It's like, both of them were shook. WWE, for obvious reasons, was a little more shook. So they were just kind of throwing stuff at the walls to see what sticks. So that's why you had all those kooky gimmicks like, we're going to try out a dentist. We're going to have a dude who does taxes. Yeah. Oh, my God. I'm trying to think all those crazy-ass gimmicks they had. It was like, yo. And they get title shots. It's not even like they're just there.
Yeah, no.
They're promoted. Yeah, no. These are the guys we're going with to compete against Harlem Heat and, you know, Chris Benoit versus, like, Booker T, the Best of 7 series, which is super underrated to this day.
Oh, my God, yeah.
All this stuff, they had so many great angles, and that's the difference, too, is that their angles were based around wrestling. So, like, with WWE, and even now to a certain extent, their angles are like Wag the Dog very much, where it's just like, the wrestling part of it isn't really sorted. We start off with a really kooky gimmick, and then hopefully the matches work out. Whereas WCW was kind of opposite, where it's just like, okay, we have these two great performers. We know we have to get them in angles together because they're going to be great. They can't not have a great match together. So Chris Jericho was amazing, and we're going to put him with this new young Mexican kid, Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
Who's the best like luchador we've ever seen. We got to get them in the ring. We'll find an angle about it. Maybe Jericho wants his mask, and that'll be the angle.
Yeah.
But that'll set up a rivalry. We can play that out over 6 months. And because they're such great workers, you're going to get something out of it. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, we're getting off on a tangent. So Owen. Amazing Owen.
Amazing Owen.
I'm happy. First of all, I'm looking forward to the merch. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro.
Yeah, I want King of Hearts?
Bro.
King of Hearts merch, yo fam, I'm copping.
Yeah.
That's getting my money.
I'm copping too.
That's getting my money.
Yeah. I'm handing off all the dollars. They're gonna get it.
Yeah. They got it.
Because I've been waiting to support Owen just because like even if I thought Martha Hart's response was over the top, which I know, by the way. But, like, even if I was like, yo, you kind of wilding out, it's like, I mean, wrestling kind of killed your husband. And, you know, having now watched, which we'll get into that too, but having watched the Dark Side of the Ring episode about Owen, I found out a couple things I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was all due to, like, a really shaky, like, carabiner that had been rigged up by a company that they cheaped out on.
Yeah.
Bro, of course you're not rocking with you. Like, that's a bad look all around. Y'all wanted to cut costs, and
trying to save money on my husband's life.
Again, goes back to the point that they were getting their ass kicked. So this is what they were so afraid of. So they literally had to pull Bret Hart's extension, which is why he ended up going to WCW, because they were bleeding money because they were getting their ass kicked. So they were looking to cut costs any way they could. So they literally let Bret Hart walk, which is he was 1 or 2, however you want to rank them. Superstars in the league, not the league, but
2, 3.
Yeah, 3. All right, so he was like the third big, but he was still huge. He had a cult following, and they ended up letting him walk because they pulled the contract because they couldn't pay him what they promised to pay him.
Yeah.
So with that, and with Owen having this gimmick that he shouldn't have been in anyway, they were looking to save money, and so they saved money by having this crew rig him up that would do it for pennies on the dollar, and dude lost his life because of it. Of course, I'm gonna be like, "Also, fuck you" for the rest of my life, forever. But he didn't have to die. And then when I don't know if you saw his episode.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So when I was about ready to throw my laptop when they showed like how he came out of it, and I was just like, bruh.
Yeah, they showed like yo, the fact that she has like the carabiner, like all that, like
she saved it. I mean,
yo, she saved it. She was just like, yo, this is the actual carabiner that was holding on to my husband's life. Look how easy it comes apart.
Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I could have sworn the quote was like, the carabiner is designed to like automatically release if it's confronted with like more than 6 pounds or something like that.
Yeah, because it's a carabiner used on, I believe it's like a carabiner used on like shipping boats.
Yeah,
to drop loads.
To release. Oh my god.
To like release loads. So it's not.
He had no chance.
Yeah, it was bad. Because
Owen, like, all right, so Owen, at his prime, competing weight was like what, like 240, about that?
I feel like maybe I don't know. Actually, he was muscleless.
Yeah, you're forgetting the muscle.
Yeah,
he wasn't a tall 220.
He wasn't a tall 220, but he was a lot of muscle.
Yeah.
Like
he was stocky, but like he could move.
Yeah. I would definitely say probably like 220.
240. So the second that they lowered him, he must have been done. Like just like so you think. So here's the rafters, right? And Buddy's walking to the edge, and as soon as he jumps off and gets like here, it's released already.
It's pretty much coming.
So there's nothing for him to grab. There's no
coming
chance.
Apart. Yeah.
6 pounds of release, bro. That's nothing.
Oh, dude. Yeah. It was coming apart immediately. Yeah. She was wild.
So fuck them for that. But yeah, happy to have Owen.
Yo, happy to get some Owen stuff. Happy that this is like. I'm happy that he's like that. There's an organization now that's big enough that can like actually give his memory some justice. Because I feel like that's never been able to happen, and because that's happened a lot, bro. When you think about every like great wrestler who's passed away, there've been like memorial things for them. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like there's like Andre the Giant memorial thing, the Mae Young Classic, the Ultimate Warrior, like Warrior Trophy. Like there's something to commemorate every great. Who we've lost in wrestling. Now we're getting that for Owen. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean it's this great feeling, almost like your homie who went abroad for school or something like that came back to the neighborhood.
Exactly. Yeah.
And because we've been without Owen Hart in our lives as like wrestling fans for a long time. So like I'm welcoming it with open arms, even if it's inspired by some petty. I'm down for it.
I'm gonna say this shit now, and we'll move on from the topic.
Yeah.
But if Brian Pillman Jr. wins the fucking Owen Hart tournament, I'm gonna cry. You heard the shit here.
Oh my God.
Yo, if Brian Pillman Jr. wins the Owen Hart tournament, fam, it is a wrap for me. Like, yo, I'm losing it. Like, that's way too beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm
happy to see the next generation winning, though, by the way, too.
Yo.
Have you been keeping up with David Benoit's development?
No.
All right, I'll say it real quick and then we can move on. But yeah, so having dove a little bit into not just the Benoit story, but like I was more interested in the other impact of it, which was like how Benoit's other kids were faring and how the people like close to the incident and to him were kind of responding to it. And so I knew David had been kind of aspiring to be a wrestler. And like the thing is, when you're the son of a formerly great wrestler or the child of a formerly great wrestler, if you even make it known that you may at some point be interested in wrestling, like that's like banner news. You know what I mean? So like people have been like on David Benoit watch for like a long time. And so what I heard and I thought was really, really dope. I don't know where he is in his development. I'll have to research later when we wrap the pod. But I guess he was slated to make a debut, and Chris Jericho, who's really close to him, had like reached out and was like, "Bro, I love you to death. I love your father's legacy. Like you're basically like you're not ready yet. Like you got potential, but I don't want to let you go out there if you're not like polished yet. Like I want you to be nice when you start." So Chris Jericho basically jumped in and like stopped, bro. And was like I love you too much to go out there and be like mediocre. No, we're gonna send you back to the drawing board. We're gonna polish it up. Okay. So I don't know if he's still going to do it, but that does make me happy.
Fam, Jericho and like the perfect segue, Dark Side of the Ring.
Yeah.
The Benoit episode. Jericho is the one who like facilitated getting him together with the aunt. And like
I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I was like ready to blow my fucking eyes out when I saw that.
Yo, fam, it was beautiful.
Of all the moments that were like heavy onions, that one was like
that was so heavy onions. It was just like, yo, like y'all both lost and y'all together helping each other. They're like them at the AEW event. Yo, fam, stop.
Yeah, I was like, where was I watching it? First, I was watching it somewhere I shouldn't have been watching it. So I had to like go back to work. But hey, go ahead, man. We don't incriminate each other on the pod. We're not going to incriminate ourselves on this podcast. No. But yeah, Dark Side of the Ring, that episode was amazing. But speaking of Dark Side of the Ring, talk about more recent episode of Dark Side of the Ring, The Plane Ride from Hell. Yeah.
All right. So this episode talks about a plane ride from hell, which first off, I had heard about it, and I'd always confused it. I always confused the plane ride from hell with, like, that famous, like, plane crash that happened. It was, like, full of wrestlers. It was, like, in the fucking, like, 80s or 90s.
Is that the infamous one that Flair walked from?
Yeah. Flair walked away from that shit. Like, nothing pretty much happened. Like, that one. Yeah. I always thought that was the plane ride from hell. But I'm like, yo.
It's a very common mistake.
It fucking crashed. Is that not a plane ride?
Bro, they really said, buddy, walk from it. Like it was an inconvenience. Like, damn, y'all spilled my drink.
He's like, damn, yo, like, I was trying to get home on time.
Yeah, now I'm the cops.
No, I'm going to be late. Shit. Y'all going to have to tell my wife. Y'all going to have to tell my wife the plane crashed. But, like, so it was a plane ride in, like, 2002. Yeah. They were overseas in the UK. They had chartered a private plane full of wrestlers. The plane was delayed for 7 hours, and then it was a 7-hour flight, and they pretty much had unlimited booze. I'll leave y'all with that information as far as that sets the stage. These fuckers were a mess.
Yeah.
Yo. And Dark Side of the Ring is a show that I love. I normally watch it after the season's over so I could just binge it.
Yeah.
Because I don't find it as one of those shows where like I just want to see one episode a week.
Yeah.
I don't have any show in my life right now that I just sit down and watch one episode a week of.
Yeah.
Just don't have it. There's no time. For me, it's like, yo, hey, my whole, like, I got a full day available. I'm going to binge this shit.
Yeah, so you probably find yourself time-wise somewhat similar to me. So, like, I don't have time to consistently invest in the very, like, moment of watching TV consistently.
No.
But if I have a free Saturday, I'll binge.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean?
I have a free Saturday. Like, yo, we rocking.
I'll spend all day catching up, but I can't give you one a week.
I can't give you one a week. I can't give you one dedicated a week.
No.
So, I normally wait so I
Yeah.
can binge it. But the episode of the plane ride from hell was like everywhere, going viral, going nuts. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, so that's what made me have to see it.
And that's what made me have to like jump and watch it right away. The big story about the plane ride was Ric Flair. And for lack of better phrasing, being drunk, naked in a robe, and moving his hips to make his dick move like a helicopter. Fam.
Yeah, there's never gonna be a moment in my life where I'm cool with seeing 70-year-old dick. Maybe it's just me. So I have a few takes. So like, all right. So initial reactions. Were any of us shocked?
No.
Like before you even set the stage where just like dudes were rested or like or overtired or whatever, and like kind of wound up and coming from this grueling tour, and there was alcohol on board. Like eliminate all that. Let's just say the plane left on time and they were leaving the country. Does the story change for you?
No.
Like you would expect that either way, right? Like why are we acting like Ric Flair was a choir boy outside of this accident? Like this is what his whole motto was like. I be wheeling, stealing, stealing from girls, and like I be going to bed. Like what was the infamous story in the '80s where like he would like bang groupies but never take the belt off?
Yeah.
Like come on, bro. Like,
yo.
and I'm not saying this to give him a pass. I think what he did was really horrible.
Nah, yeah, what he did was horrible.
I'm definitely like my ears perk up whenever I hear about like really garbage dude behavior, because it's one of those conversations we as a society would not breach for a long time, and it was a lot of like boys will be boys.
Yeah.
Just accept the fact that when you turn 14, dudes are gonna pinch your butt in school. Come on, what's bad? You know what's so bad about that? So I think he has to take that on the chin. There has to be some accountability, but it's also Ric Flair. It's like all of us have a homeboy who you can't bring certain places. Like how many times have you been like, nah, I meet with people from the state, bro. Like I can't have you come down to City Hall. You're gonna like
you act up.
I'm gonna have so many people like I'm gonna have to apologize to afterwards. So like you gotta understand certain moments don't call for everybody. Like I imagine there's probably certain people you like I can't have him on the pod.
Absolutely. Oh
I'm gonna have to answer to so many people and like so
damn. It's like
Ric
having
Flair,
Cootie on the pod.
yeah. So like I expect garbage behavior from Ric Flair, basically. We can examine each moment by moment and contextualize it where it needs to be. But if you're telling me Ric Flair is on a plane with unlimited alcohol and young women, I'm like, yeah, that's going to happen every time.
10 times out of 10.
Yeah.
And yeah, so there were calls for Ric Flair to be canceled because
Okay, what does that even mean though? What
I
does
don't
that
know.
even look like?
I don't know.
You're gonna take away his ability to show up to wrestling crowds in a suit? Like
I don't understand, honestly. And that's it's a whole other topic. I don't understand what canceling means. I'll be honest. I don't understand what cancel. I don't understand it. Because again, it's like what you said. What does that mean? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
What are you going to, because that's where, like, when you're someone like Ric Flair,
there's nothing you can take away from him.
You can't take anything away from him. So
what does he do? What does he do that you can actually affect? Guy in your basement. What can you actually do?
Like
he wrestles for money.
He wrestles for money, and like his presence can garner like thousands of dollars.
Bro, if he walks into a mall, he's collecting a check
every time.
He's still that famous.
He is still that famous. He is Ric fucking Flair.
But like, because I know he's officially been retired for a while now, but he's still seen some in-ring action.
Yeah.
Let's say you take away his ability to officially, okay, he was already retired. So then what? You're gonna say he can't show up to AEW? His name rings bells. So he's had all kinds of like pop culture appearances that like the biggest wrestlers of today aren't getting. Like he was
in a Bad Bunny video.
Yeah, Bad Bunny video. He was what was one joint he popped up? I was like, damn, I forgot how far his reach is. He had an episode of the Cleveland show that was entirely built around him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where he voiced over and everything. Like, he's still a huge deal. Killer Mike, one of my favorite Killer Mike songs is the Ric Flair song.
Yeah. It's like, his reach is still there.
So, I don't know, man. On the topic of cancel culture, though, so like if we're going to trace this dreaded topic, canceling, I guess, in the abstract is supposed to be we're going to publicly shame / hold this individual accountable for some unsavory behavior, right? And the accountability piece of it is going to be we're going to either deplatform you, which is to take away your ability to be shitty in that way or affect people in that way. Or if you're somebody who does something or you're in an industry that requires public participation, we're going to take away your ability to do that. So we're going to publicly shame you, actor who did that terrible thing, by making sure you don't get cast in this next movie. That's a mode of canceling. But you have to have something to actually cancel. And I don't think you can do that with a guy like Ric Flair.
You can't.
His reputation is being garbage.
Yeah, his reputation is, yo, I'm wheeling, dealing, kiss stealing. Like, what? So, if he did that to the flight attendant, because again, I think I'm also in the bit, like, people said, yo, like, what we saw. I'm going to say something real quick, too. All right? Look at me, damn it.
Camera two.
Listen. You motherfuckers leave Rob Van Dam alone. You hear me?
Yeah.
You motherfuckers leave Rob Van Dam alone.
No blood on the hands, bro.
Yo, that man is good. Yo, fam. Like, I will die on this hill. Rob Van Dam is a saint. I refuse to allow anyone to make me believe otherwise. And on social media, I keep seeing, because he was just
I was happy when I met him, too, man. I got to say.
Yo.
Like, it made me a bigger fan.
Yo, Rob Van Dam is amazing.
Yeah.
And I keep seeing on social media, because I think in the episode, he says, I saw, Ric Flair, going up to the flight attendant. He was in the galley where, like, he confirms that he saw that, but he was just like, she was smiling. I don't know if it was a nervous smile, but like on his end, he was just like, I just couldn't see enough to know what the hell was going on.
So that's the other thing too, right? So Ric Flair, we're forgetting, yes, he's old as shit now, but for a long time he was a young, vibrant. Even when he got older, he still had that kind of natural charisma where he can like get a younger shorty.
Yeah, so like, you don't know. You might think he's young. He's working.
Ric Flair's youngest kid is our age. You know what I mean? So like we're acting like this is not. First of all, pulling a flight attendant on a plane is something that Ric Flair would do at any point in his career.
Like I don't know that I would think it's super far fetched to believe that that he was able to bag the flight attendant and get it popping.
Okay, so here's what we talk about too when we're talking about cancel culture. So the unfolding of that unfortunate incident, which again we are against.
We are against it.
We are against. Let's confirm that again.
We are against.
But it's paper thin. So let's say in any way that woman was susceptible, we never hear about this story. Let's say she was like, just not here.
Yeah.
Put it away. I'll holler at you when we land.
Yeah.
If that happens, we don't hear about the story. Now, he'd still be in the wrong because there's a time and a place for everything. And maybe helicopter in your wang ain't the best way to go about it. Hi, my name is such and such. There's rules of engagement.
Hi, I'm Richard.
Hi, I'm Richard.
How are you?
Perhaps you've heard of me.
Perhaps you've heard of me. I go by Rick.
But you know what, too? Elephant in the room. I'm having really a tough time picturing / accepting the fact this man's on the plane and just letting all this go down.
Yeah, Vince.
Not even a, hey, guys, can you relax? You're embarrassing me. It's my company. I'll fire all of you. Bro, you just sitting there, what, reading the paper?
Yeah, he was in the front. He was in the front of the plane with his wife.
Yeah, but from what I understand about the episode that I watched, it's not like no one knew what was going on the plane.
He was sending JR to handle it. My understanding is like, yo, JR, this is your job to deal with it. I'm not dealing with it. It's your job. That's on you. And now when we land the plane, when the plane lands, and we got to deal with all the backlash, it's your job to fire everybody.
Bro, that's like, all right, so say you in a crib and you got a younger brother that's like 8 years younger than you, and he breaks a window, and your parents are like, you were supposed to be watching him.
Now it's your job to punish him.
So your parents just not going to come upstairs and assess the damage?
It's your job.
Not going to do anything? You should have been watching him.
You should have been watching him.
That's on you.
Now it's your job to punish him and fix the window. Go.
And you're just not going to parent that at all.
Nah, not even a little bit. Yo, that's what it'd be like. So, it's crazy.
Yo, shout out to the image, though, of Brock Lesnar running and tackling Kurt Hennig.
Yo, against the emergency exit.
Yo, mad huge, bro. Young Brock, though, we forget how big he's big now, but it's like he's older, so he's like doughy.
Young Brock
but
was
young Brock was like, he might as well have been carved out of marble.
Yo, young Brock was, young Brock was as big, if not bigger, than he is now.
Yeah, definitely.
But he 100% was 3 times faster than he is now.
He was so quick.
It was like scarily fast.
His coordination like defied his physique. And that's why he thought he could land that shooting star, right?
Yeah.
But like, yeah, bro. What was Kurt Hennig thinking too? Like, what's Brock gonna do when he catches up to you? You know what? You want to play? All right, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. Motherfuckers wilding. Yeah, wilding. So we'll stick on the topic of sports. This is our last sports topic.
Already.
Boxing. And so we don't gotta stay on this too long.
Yeah, no, please don't.
It's Canelo versus Plant. Not a Plant. The gentleman's name is Plant. Yes. So first off, I didn't know about the fight until I saw the press conference. Because that's what press conferences are for.
Yeah.
In the press conference, Canelo pushes oh boy, as he shall be referred to as for the rest of the segment.
Yeah.
Oh boy casually walks in a rather sharp suit. Good for him. He takes a swing at Canelo, to which point Canelo dodges it completely and goes for a two-piece, which, by the way, if Canelo wanted to, he could have landed that. He could have landed that really bad.
And as much as I criticize Canelo, his joints be having meat on them.
You watch boxing more than I do.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is Plant?
Random. So Caleb Plant is somebody who is and should be respected, but he's not somebody who's expected in any way to challenge Canelo.
Okay.
And that has been my overwhelming sentiment with Canelo over
every
the last
fight
few
he's
years.
had. Yeah.
Canelo's amazing. Like, let me not trip. He's definitely a top 3 pound-for-pound fighter in the world right now. Like, I am a fan, and he is talented, but he's getting a little bit like Floyd Mayweather-ish, where there's a lot of carefully hand-selected opponents, where there's clearly a dude in the background who's looming, who you could be fighting, who you're not fighting for whatever reason, and it's just like, even Triple G's been waiting, like, nah, bro, we got unfinished business. You don't feel confident in that win you got over me. Most people didn't think you won the first fight. I don't feel you won the second fight. Like, what's up? Let's get a third one. He's not even entertaining that conversation.
Yeah, nah.
And now, you got Boo Boo nipping on his heels, which I'm not sure how I feel about Boo Boo's chances in that fight. But as we've talked about before, that's not the point.
It's not the point. It's the point is that because I that's a narrative that I've heard as well.
Yeah.
Like, as far as just like, it isn't about whether or not Boo Boo can beat Canelo. It's about the fact that, like, he should be able to fight him, though.
He called you a bitch in a press conference.
Like, yo, and that's where I'm like, yo.
What else do I gotta do?
Yo, and that's why I will,
I grew up in the projects. That starts a fight every time.
Yo.
Calling a man a bitch and saying you can beat him in a fight is a fight.
It's a fight every time.
Off rip.
Every time.
No
and
question.
We see that, and we see that in every form of, like, we see that in MMA. Yo, hey. Like, after a fight, if you get on the mic with Joe Rogan and you say, yo, what's good? Like this dude, Daniel Cormier, calling out Jones.
I love that.
And he was just like, yo, hey, fight me. It was like,
got made.
It was like, all right. And then Dana was just like, all right, y'all gonna fight. Because that's what happens when you have, like, an organization. There's an entity. There's a, you know what I'm saying?
So I'm a disgruntled boxing fan and disgruntled combat sports fan, because when MMA is on some nonsense too, I criticize it.
An overall disgruntled human.
Yeah, that's my general disposition. I'm always mad about stuff. But so I'm on record several times over, going back several years. Boxing is the most corrupt sport in the world. Like, there's no comparable anything you could, like, put on its level. There's nothing. I mean, yeah. U.S. like elections are safer than boxing. Like, you know what I mean? I'll trust an election before I trust a boxing result. But no, so like it's a type of thing where everybody, promoters and whatnot are always jockeying for position, and so everyone's trying to outdo each other. That's why big fight deals don't typically get made, because everyone's trying to be able to say, I fleeced that guy. I made him take a 40% when we could have done 50-50. And that's how, what was the last big fight that didn't get made? I think it was Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
And so what happened was Deontay Wilder was sent a contract that was like flat. Boom. You're going to make this money. You're going to get a career high, everything. All the terms were great. And then Deontay was like, no. And his Joshua's camp was like, bro, you've been calling me out for months. Like, here's what you want. Let's go. I got the belts. What's up? And then he was like, nah, I'm good. And then went on a press tour talking about how Anthony Joshua refuses to fight him. And so he was trying to, I guess, work out like a better deal with Fury, which ended up being less anyway. So stupid. And he lost. So the biggest problem I see with the sport is that it lacks a central governing body. You need a person or persons. I would prefer it to be an old school like Madman Corporation where you go up high enough and it's just one guy in a chair.
Yeah.
That says,
bro,
you fight that guy.
Yo,
the belt's here.
Dana White, like,
as much as I don't like Dana White, he does what he's supposed to do, which is make sure that the best fight the best. And so, like in the sports group that we have, I posted, I think it was like the Sugar Ray Leonard Tommy Hearns fight. It's like highlights of it. Their big famous like 81 clash, which everybody's uncles from yesteryear still talks about. Like the fight is like 40 years old at this point. And why that fight is significant is because one dude was ranked number 1, one dude was ranked number 2. Each of them had one of the only 2 belts that were in their welterweight 147-pound division. And there's one solution to that. Hey, make a fight. And you know what happened? They fought.
It was easy.
And it was easy. So dudes at the peak of their powers, they got in the ring. You want to settle it? And that's the beauty. That's what the beauty of combat sports is supposed to be. It can be settled in the ring, and you get a definitive answer.
Yeah.
You know, you can feel however you feel about, you know, Steph Curry and Chris Paul. They're not going to play a one-on-one game on pay-per-view. It's just, that'll never happen.
No.
Yeah, no. So boxing is devoid of that sort of iron-fisted like direction, and it needs that because you're always going to have janky promoters trying to maximize profits by protecting a fighter and keeping him away from challenges. And so, yeah, I'm disgruntled.
Yeah. I mean, I always think about whenever we talk about like a governing body over combat sports, and when I think about Dana White, I immediately go to the career of Anderson the Spider Silva.
Yeah.
Fam, if Anderson Silva was a boxer, there's no way he would have been in a title fight as quickly as he was in the UFC.
Oh, yeah, no.
Like, Dana literally saw this dude go in, completely destroy a man, like he's never seen a man get destroyed, and was just like, yeah, you fighting the champ.
You're better than everybody. Let's jump you up.
Yeah, like, yo. And mind you, went to the champ and said, yo, you're fighting this guy. Who? No, you're fighting this guy. I don't care. Nah, don't matter. Come on, Forrest. I got you. You got to fight this guy.
Yeah, and we as fans were the better for it. Like what did it? It revolutionized the sport and brought some real legitimacy to it. Because, like, you know, as great as UFC is and as big as it was, circa 05, 06 when he won the title was just like, it was still kind of very niche.
Oh, yeah. It was stupid.
It was not mainstream. You couldn't watch it on TNT like you can now.
Bro, I feel like he was in that era of like on the heel of like the whole like Ortiz, Liddell, like
they were still the titans of the sport at the time.
Yeah, like, but he was like the one that kind of like carried it forward. It was just like, all right, now we're gonna put this thing on my back, and people are gonna come and like watch my fights.
Yeah,
because and for anybody who, by the way, because I kind of didn't think about like how far back Silva's reign was.
It was a while ago, bro.
But like, if you've never seen Anderson Silva fight, like, do yourself a favor.
The talent was otherworldly. There was never anyone like that. Really, in my opinion, hasn't been since. But like, so there was a level of like polish to what he did that really wasn't there before. And I think that's also part of why the UFC kind of had difficulty breaking into the mainstream, because you need, you know, business 101 is you need a product to sell. You need something you can market. And so this dude who was seemingly better than everyone at everything, even the areas in which he was weak, he finished so many people on the ground. We forget that.
Yeah.
And his thing was stand up, and he was killing dudes on the ground.
Ground stand, anything.
And in the ways he was doing it was like so unbelievable. There was almost like a Mike Tyson feel to it. Like, all right, I know this dude's about to get knocked out by Anderson. I just don't know when or how.
Don't know when or how, and I'm gonna sit here and watch it.
Yeah, and
just sit here and watch it happen.
It may be, looking back, one of the last real vivid times I can remember. Like, I need to get home to watch this thing. You know what I mean? There's not a lot that you rush home for these days. And I was like, you know, where me and like some homies would like link up, like, okay, we got to get to the Wings place now and get an early seat, because if he dusts this dude in like a round and we miss the moment, because like the moment of the Anderson Silva fight is really what sold it. Like, I remember going out a few times. I caught the I caught the Travis Lutter fight in real time watching it. That's the leg kick.
Yeah.
Catch the leg and he knocked the dude out with the right hand.
Yep.
So there's all these moments that are just like, yo, no one else can do that.
Yep.
There's a performance aspect to him that we really, if you're making it analogous to other sports, it has to be someone else who's a sort of like unbelievable performer who's just doing things that other humans can't do.
Yep.
Like, you know, the Dr. J, like, walk out, like, layup thing. No one else can do that in the world. Still no one can really do it that way because his physique and his physicality is different.
This is insane.
So, yeah, I mean, peak Anderson Silva is, to me, the best thing that was ever in MMA. And I like Bones Jones a lot, but he's not Anderson.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I can foresee another Bones Jones. I can't foresee another Anderson. I just can't.
I feel that way about, I feel that way about Jones. I feel that way about Adesanya. Like, fam, like, y'all are great, but y'all not Anderson. Yeah. Y'all are not Anderson.
There's an extra oomph. There's something special there.
Yeah.
But yeah, boxing's corrupted. That's the subtitle.
It's a subtitle. Boxing is corrupt.
Boxing is corrupt. They need a leader. They need somebody to take over and make people fight fights. Because I mean, there's only so long Canelo can run away from Boo Andre.
Yeah, man. Shit. Yeah. So speaking of corrupt, and just speaking of just needing a leader, Kanye West. So. Van Lathan, who famously cut one of the most amazing promos on Kanye West, which I went back and like listened to again.
I did. I watched it again.
Yo, because I was like, I forgot how good it was, what he was saying.
Yeah.
So Van was recently on the Talib Kweli podcast, which, by the way, Talib Kweli is like killing shit. Like, he's getting a lot of just like great.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't watched a full episode of his pod yet, but I've just seen amazing snippets of it. I'm just like, yo, like, this dude is doing...
I've watched a couple that I felt like needed to be watched, like, in full. But every time I even see a clip, I'm just like, wow.
Yo, fam, like, the clip with, wow, why don't I remember Steve Urkel's real name?
Lil White.
Lil White. Yeah, Urkel, fuck that. No, but
that's
like...
why you call him Urkel.
But,
no
like, there was like clips with him where he was talking about like Family Matters and like why did the Steve Urkel character work, and like it was because it was, you know, like all white writers who didn't have anything that they could write for a black cast until they got the Urkel character and they could give him all the lines, so they were able to like enjoy writing. I was like, holy shit, like that makes so much sense why Urkel was Urkel.
Yeah, because I mean we've all, you know, watched goofy sitcoms that were popular in the 90s. You can always tell when a black character wasn't written by someone black.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The goofy is like, no, we don't talk like that.
Yeah, that's not a thing that black people say. But, so Talib Kweli had Van Lathan on, and he talked about that moment where he was, like, faced with Kanye West.
Yeah.
And I know... y'all are older than I am. Y'all fucked with Kanye more heavier than I did.
I was definitely earlier on it.
Yeah, you were like
I was pumping Kanye like both in a literal sense and like championing him before his first album even came out. So that's how early I was on it.
Yeah, so because for me, I was always a fan. So I was a fan of Kanye. Musically, I was like, yo, like this is just dope music.
Yeah.
Granted, at the time I was living in New York, I was fucking with Dipset. I was still fucking with Dipset.
Oh, okay. So you came from New York 50. Even later than I thought you did.
Yeah, no. I was still like, bro. Like,
that explains a lot.
No, fam. I lived in New York when Get Rich or Die Trying dropped. Like, I was there. I was still in the city for that.
Damn, when you getting a tattoo, bro?
Yeah,
it might be time.
Yo, fam.
It might be time. Get across your back.
Yo, so like, I was there for that. Like, I was in that, like that. You know what I'm saying? That era of music, which is why I like enjoyed Kanye, but like again, you're still so heavily ingrained in like
that makes so
all
much
of the
sense.
You're still so I was still heavily ingrained in like everything 50 was doing, Dipset, the Black Album. Like I'm listening to all of this here.
Yeah,
I'm not rocking with Ye like that yet.
Yeah, I mean, and it was a strange time too for those of us who like myself were on the front lines of like, yo, Kanye West is great. Like, that was a crazy thing to say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The backpack of bullshit?
To be a Kanye West fan, like, especially, let's even grant, let's say after the first album came out, and all he's done is put out an album that was almost universally praised. It's like an instant classic. Even with that, right, to big him up and talk about him like he's about to lead some industry change or like become something really special, that was an out there statement to make. You know what I mean? That's Muhammad Ali saying, I'm going to win the title. Mm-hmm. It's like, you. Who are you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so we're also forgetting where hip hop was at the time, circa 02, 03, 04, 05.
Yeah.
Like, that was a stretch where what was actually popping was real Mobb Deep-ish. That's kind of what the sound was like. And don't get me wrong, like, as critical as I've been of like Dipset and some other groups, I love like that straight like late 90s, early 2000s, like New York, Queens rap. Like,
hell yeah, fam.
How many times have you been riding around with your older brother or older cousin, and that's like the default music? You're not going to hear anything else. You know what I mean?
And this is also an era of time where music just wasn't as easily accessible as it is today. So you really are listening to whatever is being played.
And it's very important to insert the nuance that was popular rap music at that time, too. There wasn't room for Kanye. He created that lane.
Oh, yeah.
That was not there. So much of the Kanye criticism was not about the music. It was about, look how he dressing, though.
Yeah.
He got on a polo shirt. Why you dressed like you going to church? Like,
so polo shirt, backpack, what's this?
And with me and Phil and a couple other people having been the loudest about it, we looked like weirdos. I got to be honest, like, because we were out and proud about it. Like, it really was. It was almost like some like coming out of the closet type stuff, because it's a crazy thing to claim when there's a dominant cultural sound, and what you're saying is not only better than that, but will be the standard bearer in the future.
Yeah.
It's something that you and 5 people are listening to. That's a crazy thing to say.
See, and I think for me, so thinking about the whole Kanye, so bringing it back to Van Lathan, he's in that same boat. He kind of gives his backstory of just like, like he was a disciple of Kanye, is what he called himself. And then just talks about how disheartened he was into like what Kanye became, and then not feeling excited to even meet Kanye at that point.
Yeah.
And then having that situation where he had to like call him out on his shit.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing was always just like, because people question like, like, did you fucking plan that? Like, there's no way you just like freestyle that shit. He was just like, that shit was coming out my soul.
Yeah. Like,
that's just how I was feeling. Like, that was the culmination of everything for me. Yeah. Him saying, slavery was a choice, like, all that shit. Which, by the way, I remember I definitely did read some people in my timeline, I won't say who they were, who, like, tried to agree with Kanye. Like, so I was like, fam, shut up. Man, you can never enslave me. Fam, shut up. All right? Like, you living today.
Yeah, I couldn't. I've tried to engage with people on that, and I realized there are some people that are just unreachable.
The analogy that I gave to it, that I kind of came up with, as far like the analogy that I have when it comes to the whole like people today saying that they would never be slaves, is that like being enslaved today sounds as far-fetched as being free was back then to a slave.
That's a bar. That's definitely a bar. So like, all right. So I'm gonna interject and hopefully we can circle back and get to the meat of it. But I feel like this is important to say. So you always get those individuals who are speaking from a place of comfort in a modern context and talking about whatever historical, whatever they might do. Like, I wish Hitler would walk down my street. I wish Hitler would come into my house, talk about I got to leave because I'm Jewish. Like, no, you don't have.
That's not how that would work.
That's not how that would work.
It wouldn't go that way.
Yeah, like, no. If there's an army of dudes armed with military weapons, and they're shoving people from their homes, and people are surviving by hiding in basements and attics, there's nothing you, 22-year-old dude who works at Lowe's, can do about that.
Like, you wouldn't be able to stop that.
Yeah.
Like,
people have this really exaggerated, like, view of themselves.
Fam, also, you know what's wild? While we're on that topic, that, like, in 50 to 100 or 200 years, there's going to be that same narrative, like, I wish you would tell me to stay in my house and wear a mask whenever I leave. Like, fam, like, this, like...
Yeah, people have this incredible ability to overestimate their abilities and their impact in any given situation. That's why I've always I love the real sort of hot takey tweets and think pieces that have come out where people have been like, yo, in this modern day political atmosphere, we're discussing complex issues like police brutality, racism, what have you, in the context of Black Lives Matter. Whatever you're doing now is what you probably would have been doing in the 60s. Yeah. So if you're doing nothing now, boom, there's your answer. But to bring it back to slavery and Kanye's stupid ass comments about it. So it's not only culturally insensitive and not only straight up incorrect. We're forgetting that Kanye West is the son of an educator. Like, that's a crazy thing to say. Your mom is a professor, bro. Like, what are you doing? So it's like being the son of Muhammad Ali and you can't fight. You know what I mean? Like, you should be better at this. But, like, the slavery piece of it, slavery was like I think, I'm going to mess up the exact dating of it, but I know it's roughly like 250 years. So, in other words, we had slavery in this country longer than we haven't, which is something crazy to think about. So, when we break down the generations, there's about 4, 5, 6 maybe generations that were born and died as slaves with no real hope of escaping that. So, you were born, your mom was a slave, right? Your grandma was a slave. You gave birth to children who then gave birth to children, and y'all are all slaves together. That's a long time, and there's no amount of, I don't even know, what was Kanye West's angle that he would do to magically stop that?
No, he was like, yo, like, it, I feel like, yo, they always have the mindset, man, I would have left. Fam, go. Like, yo, fam, where you going?
I love people with really simple solutions. I'd have just left the plantation, and I wouldn't have cared about it.
I wouldn't have cared. I ain't listening to Master Fam. What? Like,
you can't read. You ain't got no car. You ain't got no gun. Yo. You don't know nobody in the area. There's slave patrol, so when you get caught out late at night, there's going to be somebody.
You don't know anybody who's not a slave.
Yeah.
Or you're a master.
You have to, first of all, you have to steal books to learn to read, and hopefully you pronounce words right.
Yeah, like, ain't no way. Ain't no fucking way. So,
go ahead.
So circling back to Van Lathan and like his feelings and his thoughts of Kanye, what I thought of, and this is where I think is like the 3 to 4 year age gap that like exists between myself and like, because I also think
illustrious crew.
Yeah, because I mean I also think that like, I think before generational guys would be like, yeah, like yo, all 10 like these 10 years we're gonna lump y'all together, y'all are the same person. Like yo, fam, like shit changes so much quicker now. Like 4-year difference is a big difference.
It's also important to note when you come into something or when you come into contact with something, because that can change your perspective. Like, I never got into Star Wars because I saw it too late.
Yeah.
So even though people my age are like, oh my God, Star Wars is amazing, like I didn't see it until 99 when episode 1 was going to come out. So I didn't want to be left out and not know what I was talking about. But by the time I saw
you were just not
I was just like, bro, movie making had already gotten better. Yeah. Sci-fi movies had taken a leap. Acting as itself as a genre had taken a leap. I wasn't going to be impressed by a movie that was made in 1977. Like, Terminator 2 was out already. Matrix had already come out already. Don't try to impress me with this.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I missed the window.
And it all comes down to when you're exposed to it.
Yeah.
And I think for me, the person who I hold in the same light as, like, you probably hold Kanye West, for me, is J. Cole.
Ah, okay.
J. Cole is that person for me because depending on where you were in life when you experienced Kanye, I experienced Kanye. I experienced Cole. I was a freshman in college.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Freshman in college, hearing about a dude rapping about college life. Rapping about, yo, how do I, you know what I'm saying? It's just like the bullshit college shit. Like, I'm working. Like, yo, he mentioned, like, yeah, I'm doing a fucking work-study job. Fam, I was doing a work-study job. Yeah. I was working work-study job.
It reminds me of the tweet I saw once where, like, J. Cole makes music for people with student loans.
Yeah. Damn. So that was me. So I think for me, like, I view that whole situation as far as just, like, people feeling super disheartened about Kanye and all that. It's just like, yo, like, if J. Cole one day woke up and was just like, yo, man, Donald Trump dude kind of making a lot of sense. I mean, yo, wait a minute. Whoa.
Oh,
Jermaine,
my God.
Jermaine, don't do this.
Oh, man.
Like, that's where and I think that's where, like, for me, like, I will, very similar to, like, how Van talked about it. Like, yo, fam, I will, like, sword and shield fight for J. Cole throughout all ends because that's where I put him in that pedestal for me right now.
Yeah, and for a long time, Kanye sat really comfortably in that, like, throne of where if you dared come at the king, there'd be an uprising of people who would like block the shrapnel, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
So like, there's a sweet spot you can get to as a celebrity, and I've always been fascinated with this. Very few celebrities get there, but if you get there, it would behoove you to try to stay there because it's a sweet spot to really reside in. You know, Michael Jackson was there for most of his career until like '93.
Yeah.
To where no matter what goofy nonsense he was doing, people would jump up and be like, "Hey, he made Thriller."
Yeah.
Like, and that would end the comment. Like, that's a rational response
He made Thriller
to any criticism you can lever. And
Yo,
it was a fair.
But he made Thriller.
But he made Thriller, and that was for a long time. That was like, that's all you needed. You didn't need to contextualize it. You didn't need to elaborate nothing. And people would go, yeah, he did make Thriller. That did slap. Like, still does slap. So the short list I have like that, and I'm leaving a few names out, but like the short list of people who are just like unassailable, where like no reasonable criticism of them or their craft is allowed. Beyonce's there.
Yeah.
Kobe, especially now with him passing away.
Yeah.
He was already there. LeBron's gotten there because his fans have become more obnoxious.
Yeah.
Denzel's there.
Don't speak.
Won't let you talk. No, absolutely. Like, no criticism is allowed.
No.
But I mean, I don't want to go through a whole list, but like, there's names like that where nobody lets you mess with them. And Kanye West was there for a long time, and I love what Van got into. I'm gonna mess up how he worded it, so please correct me if you remember it. But he was talking about Kanye West was more than like a musician. He was like something like, he was like a representative or something. I forgot how he worded it, but basically he was like bigger than like a musician to me. He's like someone who I feel like is like family. And for a lot of us who saw the rise and success of Kanye West and like sort of believed in him, like cliche when no one else would. His music, like, I gotta be honest, if you compile the soundtrack of my life, in the album's like 20 tracks, he's probably getting like 8 or 9 songs, like legit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I love Michael Jackson to death. He's the greatest anything I've ever seen in music. Mike's not getting 8 tracks. You know what I mean?
Nah, yeah, but again, it's because of when were you exposed, the time and place. Like, I think that's where J. Cole summed it up perfectly one time. He was just like, because of just how important when you're exposed to something is, it cannot, like, new stuff can't compete with that moment. Yeah. So he's like, yo, so to me, he was like, yo, to me, Jay-Z's Blueprint will forever be the greatest album that I've ever heard in my life because of when I heard it and that moment. No other album is going to give me that moment because it's fleeting. It passed. You can't. I can't get there again.
So I'm actually J. Cole's age, so I actually relate to that completely. So I'll give you real quick my Blueprint story, and we can jump back on track. So when the Blueprint came out, if you remember, 9/11 happened the day it was released. Yeah. So I actually had Blueprint 2 days early because I got it from the bodega. Yeah. So I had Blueprint 2 days before everyone else did because there was one bodega that happened to have it, and it was like a cart of new like mixtapes that were going to be sold. And I happened to see that. I'm like, yo, wait, that's the Blueprint? I forgot what I was buying, like some honey bun or whatever bullshit I was eating at the time. Yeah. So, you know, sometimes you go on the way to high school, you stop and you buy your little snack sustenance for the day, whatever. So I got my little whatevers, and I saw the little side box of like $5 mixtapes, and I'm like, I know what the Blueprint cover looks like. I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, he's like, oh, we're not like selling. I'm like, nah, you gotta let me get that. Let me just get one. So I bought the joint, and I listened to it, and the joint was like, obviously Blueprint went on to be considered a classic, and I was like, this joint is amazing. So that was my soundtrack for the next 2 days. So I actually listened to it on the way to school when, yeah. So Blueprint was so good to me. It was so amazing. It was so flawless, like, as a piece of music, that I actually had a bus pass, and I walked to school purposely.
Just to, like, experience
so I could hear the whole, and I would just play. No need to skip. Whole joint. And so I knew when I was getting close to school, because Renegade would come on. Yeah. And so I walked to school, and because at the time I lived in the Ville. Yeah. And so if you remember around that time, I mean, you didn't start taking bus until probably like a couple years later, right?
Well, I wasn't living in Providence at that time.
Oh, yeah, you were in Providence. Okay, so this is like Providence inside shit. So there had been some transportation issues with students, particularly high schools, getting to school. And RIPTA had issued these sort of limited time bus passes, which had just started coming out like a year or two before that. And so your high school had control over like who they like allocated them to. But you would get bus passes that were valid for like school travel hours. So in other words, your bus pass would be good until like 4 or something like that. And so even though I lived close enough to kind of walk, I was getting bus passes.
Yeah.
So the lady in the office passed me one off. So I had started taking the bus from the Ville, which like I went to the Met, so it was like literally just like up the street.
Yeah.
But I walked because I wanted to hear the album. So Blueprint to me is still like held in high regard, not just because it was amazing, but because it was amazing to me at a time where I was kind of disillusioned. There wasn't a lot of great rap albums circa like 0102.
Nah.
You know what I mean? Like
it was a very odd. I just remember it being, for me, it was all 50 for me.
Yeah.
So it was just like,
and I was bumping hell out of 50 at the time.
Yeah. Well, because I think for me also, I was living in New York, in Queens of all places.
Oof. So
like when I say I was like all 50, I'm talking like before Get Rich or Die Trying, mixtape 50, like
50 Cent was the future.
Yeah, 50 Cent for president. Like this shit is what's circulating around me. So I'm like, yo, this is the shit.
Yeah.
Like, yo,
I had all those.
Like, this is fire. But yeah, I mean, it all comes down to that moment. It all comes down to just when you experience music. And yeah, like, yo, Van, like bringing it back to just Van on the Kanye incident, it's the way he broke it down and just like kind of like that feeling of, because I feel like people always, because this happens a lot in like Black and brown communities.
Yes.
We always get shit on for the way we love our heroes.
Yeah.
Because of lack of representation,
we get so few. And where we find them are in these places like music or comic books and all that shit. It's just like, yo, like this is where like they don't exist in a lot of other places. So yeah, my bad if I'm really rocking with Miles Morales, who's who's Black Spider-Man. Yeah, like that, like there's not a lot of representation. That's who I'm rocking with. That's who my son loves. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's just like these are our heroes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think when Van is talking about like, yo, like Kanye, like I was a disciple and like all this, like I definitely know there were people who just like who want to poo-poo on the whole idea of like, like damn, like yo, like he's your hero, you all this stuff. Like, yo, yeah, because we don't have other heroes.
Yeah, so I've always hated the idea or the sort of silent, unspoken practice of mainstream America to be critical of who we decide to prop up. Because first of all, you don't get to decide our heroes. And two, we're not doing anything different than what you're doing. I mean, what was the big story like when the terrible ass Sex and the City movies came out and then like when we're going to the theaters dressed as them? Like, how is that any different from me being, like, Kanye's dope, and that's not just the music I'm talking about. He as a person is dope.
Like, yo, he's dope, and I'm gonna wear polos now. Yeah.
And we have to sort of be conscious of the fact that, like, representation and the idea of it is something that's, it's 360. We all want it. You know what I mean? Representation matters to everybody. So there's things that Kanye West gave voice to in terms of subject matter, and there's things that he was representative of just by being how he was. First of all, he was the first rapper I'd heard of in a long time that wasn't really an outward street dude. You know what I mean? And there used to be such diversity, in rap, circa like early 90s, like the Tribe, they weren't hard.
Nah, but it just got, I think, early 2000s just got so crowded.
It got so gutted. And that's really what it was.
And I'll be honest, a lot of that can be attributed to 50.
Yeah.
Because Jay had been there the whole time, but like 50 really came in and like really put shit on a stranglehold.
Well, yeah, you won't be able to sell a harder backstory than I got shot 9 times and here's my rap album now.
And here's my rap album where I talk about it. Where I talk about it. Yeah. So that's what it was, but I mean, it is what it is.
I just needed to get this out too. So like I love the fact what he articulated in both the original words and him rehashing it. He talked about like, yo, Kanye, not only are you fucking up, you're hurting me.
Yo, you're hurting me. Yeah.
Like what you're doing is like wounding me, bro. Like that's important too. It's not just, I think part of the issue with Kanye West when he's been met with very reasonable criticism is people make it, I hate to say this, but like you almost kind of take the wrong tone with him. And we're so angry because what he does say when he's acting up is so out there. We kind of just want to shout him down like a parent.
Yeah.
Whereas Van came at him in a way that kind of pierces the armor a little bit more because you're attacking him on a plane where he can like see you.
Yeah.
Whereas if I walk into a room and I'm like, Izzy, you made a mess in here, you know what I mean? And I'm like criticizing the mess, all you're going to hear is the volume. you're not going to hear the greater conversation of you should take pride in the way that, like, you know, the room looks right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You should clean this up because that makes for a better environment, as opposed to me just screaming at you. And so I thought that was really important. So to me, it struck me as one of the few times where Kanye West seemed to actually listen to who was actually talking to him.
Yeah.
Because he seems to go off on these modes and like tangents where he is so determined to block out the noise that he doesn't even hear the reasonable criticism that comes his way because he's so used to being attacked all the time.
Yeah.
So your default is like, I need to protect myself.
I gotta defend. I gotta, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, shit's wild. Shit's wild. I have your heroes, man. Fuck the bullshit. Like, I'll be honest though, if I ever saw J. Cole doing some shit,
I wish he dressed better. That's my only thing. That's all
I
want.
love
bro.
it, man. Yo, you know what's funny too? Is I definitely I 100% live the life of like a J. Cole disciple. I'm just like, yo, I'm gonna be comfortable, man. Fuck,
Yeah.
I don't care. Like,
I mean, I see both sides. That's me being. All right, so like as a hip hop culture, fashion is actually important to us.
yeah,
Like
100%.
I remember like the first few times I hung out at like rock crowds, and I used to think about what I was wearing, and they were like, "Just put a shirt on."
Yeah, just throw on a t-shirt.
And I was like, wait, what? Like, cause you know how it is, bro. Like, you go out certain places, you're very conscious of like, yo, do I wear these sneakers with this?
Mm-hmm.
Do I wear a button up? Do I wear a polo? Do I wear a hat? Like, does the hat look right with this? Like, am I gonna look goofy? I don't know about these jeans. And there's so much thought into appearance that just doesn't exist in some other subcultures. It's like you need to actually travel outside your range to actually see. So I think J. Cole, first, I think that's his personality, by the way. I think that's who he naturally is. I don't think that's a deviation from that at all. But I also think that's something that he's sort of pushing.
Yeah.
Like, he'd be there anyway. But it's also on some, like, I don't need to impress none of y'all.
Yeah. Like, I don't need to impress y'all.
And again, representation. I think he's giving voice to that. The dudes who are like, all right, listen, I'm comfortable in these Crocs. I'm sitting on the porch and I'm
I was fired, man. I was fired. I'm Crocs.
Yo, he went out in Crocs, bro. And no one, like, rocked with him. Like, no one, like, gave him heat about it, which is crazy.
Because you can't.
The balance is talent. That's what saves him at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what I love about it. And that is a perfect segue into our last topic of the evening, double standards.
Uh-oh. Do it.
Yo, because I think that, and so double standards between, men and women, just double standards of life in general.
Yeah.
And it's funny, so this comes on the heels also, because you had mentioned to me, like, you know what, let's talk about this. Let's unpack this a bit. Because quite honestly, I knew from the jump when I asked you to be on this podcast, I was like, no lie, this might be my longest episode ever, because I know how I know how me and Dre, like, this is the closest that I can get to like a Izzy versus Izzy conversation of just like, we're gonna break down some shit, and we're just gonna give it up.
Yeah,
I don't care. Like, I don't care. He don't care. We're just gonna give it up. So you had mentioned, you know what? Like, you want to talk about some like double standard shit, and I've touched on it maybe like a little bit during previous episodes, but I'm like, you know what? Let's talk about it. You know who Kevin Samuels is?
Yeah, I knew he was coming up in this. Go ahead.
All right. So, because I've been like religiously watching Kevin Samuels now for like, I want to say like 3-4 months.
Yeah.
Something like that. I've been just on it. And like, I initially found out about him. I think it was like around the time he was on like the Joe Budden podcast or whatever. And I've just like since, I'm like, all right, I'm a fan of this dude. And I just like kept watching it since. And yeah, man. I mean, I'm someone who's very like, I believe that yes, there are some double standards that we just have to accept that exist in the world. And then there are some that's just like, like you kind of just don't necessarily need to like, like if you don't want to accept it, cool. You just have to take what comes with that.
Yeah.
And I think that's my thought on like double standards. You know what I'm saying? As far as like, so what I always think about when it comes to like double standards, first off, I think anytime someone says, double standards between men and women, it always goes to sex. Yeah. It's like the first thought. It's just like, well, if a woman did that, blah, 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 blah. It's like, well, all right. From a like, freedom of choice, freedom of your own body, and like
Yeah.
all that. Yeah, I have no issue with a woman acting as salacious as a man does.
Yeah.
There's nothing
It
wrong.
doesn't bother me at all. I think it makes the world a better place, to be honest.
Makes the world go round. I think it's phenomenal. But again, it's kind of like all right, you just have to take what comes with that, as the man does. The man has to take what comes with that.
I'm a huge fan of honesty, man. So like, my whole thing is do whatever you do, and just be willing to accept to some degree, within reason, whatever encompasses that. Like, I want people to be honest about agendas, and we live in this world now where everyone, seemingly, from where I sit, seems to want to live in their own objective reality. You know what I mean? No one wants to be honest. Everyone kind of wants their own version of what the truth is. And you can't have a functional society built on that premise. So, like, I've had this, not to bring it back to sports, so I'll quickly get off it, but, like, I've had this conversation when I've tried to strike the difference between, like, Kevin Durant and LeBron's free agency moves.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what I've gotten to as a blanket breakdown of it is like, yo, just be honest about the fact that you want your man to win and you don't care how he does it.
Yeah.
like, I agree, yes. I'll agree that what KD has done is worse, but the motivations are exactly the same. Why did LeBron go to Miami? He thought he would win titles there. Why did KD go to Golden State? He thought he would win titles there. Everything else is just us splitting hairs and kind of doing this weird political party thing where we're kind of picking who we're going to rock with.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, like, be honest. Be honest and say, damn, I don't care where KD goes. I just want him to win title. Okay, cool. I'm fine with that. You're being honest about it. And so, what I do like about Kevin Samuels, and I have some criticism about him, but I like the fact that he's honest about the male agenda.
Yeah.
And there's been very few times where any man, really, has been given a platform in which to do that, because male honesty is always taken wrong. It's always received wrong.
Absolutely.
So, he's put it out there really blank, is to say, yo, let's not beat around the bush. Dating is for sex. That's what we're here for. If I'm the man in the dating situation, you're out with me because you're trying to see whether or not you think I'm worth having sex with.
Yeah.
I'm out with you as a man because I'm trying to see if I can get you to have sex with me. That's what we're here about. If we're not honest about that, then I don't understand how we can move forward in any way. So I'm a fan of honesty in that perspective. But the reason why I introduced the topic when we were kind of ping-ponging ideas back and forth in the beginning is because I had a moment last week where I was kind of driving around and I wanted to hear some music. It was like one of those free nights I had, and like I had like a quick errand to run, and then I kind of had some time. I was like, let me just go for a drive real quick. It's just like kind of clear my head thing. And what I've always loved about Spotify is you always have the option to do the randomly assorted playlist where it kind of builds something based on your listening habits and what have you. And because I have stuff like real gritty, like late 90s New York hip hop. Yeah. I'll have some Tribe stuff in there. I'll have jazz records, John Coltrane. Yeah. I'll have, all kind of wild stuff. I mean, I play capoeira music, everything. My mind be out there. So I don't ever know what I'm going to get. So it ended up, the first track played was like No Scrubs by TLC. Of course. And it came on and it hit me like a minute in. I'm like, yo, this shit is a banger. Yeah. Like, I appreciated No Scrubs when it came out, but I didn't really, really appreciate it. And so going back to the point where you made the point where like, I'm a few years older than you, so my experience with certain things are different. Yeah. And thank God you weren't, but you weren't there for the rough and cold 2-3 straight summers that men went through after that record came out.
Yeah, I wasn't there for that.
Bro, we had to eat it. We had to take it on the chin.
I wasn't a part of that.
So, No Scrubs as a song is a perfectly crafted, like, lead-off R&B pop song. Like, it's perfect. And the best songs like that are always really simple concept, really simple lyrics, catchy hook. It gave everything you needed to make a hit single, right? And it slapped. And aside from the fact that it slapped, it was what we always know at this point works, which is a Men Ain't Shit anthem. Men Ain't Shit anthems always work. Yeah. They never don't work. And they always slap. Let's also be honest about that. Yeah. I very rarely heard a song talking about trifling dudes that didn't work. It wasn't a banger. And you almost, in a weird way, kind of have like the relationship to a song that women have with a song that's really like freaky and misogynistic. Yeah. Where you dance to it, but you like, I'm not sure I should be enjoying this. I shouldn't be enjoying this. But it kind of slaps. Yeah. So for like 2-3 straight years afterwards, make her get near like no women. Because like anything we asked was like, I don't want no scrubs. And you'd be like, yo, I'm just asking to borrow a pencil. Like, yo, fam, it's really not that serious. And we had to eat it for a long time. But what really struck me about that, and I was like, yo, there's a lot of trifling women out here. Not as much, We'll be honest about that. But like, there's no women ain't shit songs out there.
No, nah. I think there's, of course, the one that comes to mind is definitely "Bitches Ain't Shit," but
Yeah,
but I mean, I think there's it's not as like palatable to shit on women. It's not as, you know what I'm saying? It isn't. That's not a thing you can do.
Yeah.
You can't really shit on women like that.
Yeah, so that's like the $1 million question, right? Is it like, we understand and we know that there are trifling dudes out there, right? Like, we all agree.
Yes.
We all think they're terrible.
Yes.
If you're a man who smacks up your girl, like if I found out one of my homeboys was like punching one of his girls in the face, I couldn't hang out with him anymore. It would be over.
It's
like our group of friends, I like to think that we're all, upstanding gentlemen. We're a group of, depending on who you want to count that week, it's about a group of 10 to 25 dudes, right?
Yeah.
Like we're like the X-Men. There's like 9 original Wu-Tang members, and then occasionally Nightcrawler will come stay the weekend.
Yeah.
So
that's
us 10 to 25 dudes are all upstanding gentlemen. We all handle our own bills. We all claim our kids. Good to our women, all that other stuff. And we, for the most part, as little as we've seen of each other, like in late COVID era times, we keep each other on point and keep each other on track. So I would like to think we're generally not shitty dudes. And therefore we know what shitty dudes are. But there seems to be no energy whatsoever in society for discussing or dealing with trifling women. We don't know what to do with it.
No.
There's no energy for it.
And I mean, I think it's just, it's a situation, and this is where I think, where our godfather, Kevin Daniels, comes into play.
We're going to Godfather.
Yeah, but it's like, and I think that's why he gets so much negative feedback and so much negative flack, is because it's like, I don't think, because people will say, his delivery is foul, which, by the way, I do agree with that sometimes.
Yeah.
I do agree with, like, there
definitely dials it up a bit.
Bro, there are times where, like, I'll watch his stuff and I'm just like, all right, like, this is corny. Like, this is my old uncle who thinks he's funny, but he's not funny. You're just an asshole right now. Yeah. Like, that definitely does happen on the show, on his show, and I'm just like, all right, fam, like, this is, but I don't disagree with his points.
Yeah. So what I've liked about Kevin Samuels is that he doesn't just go up there and talk out his ass. He's presented data and has broken it down and sort of. I was told when I first got wind of the videos that he was attacking women, and then I watched it and I'm like, it doesn't look like he's attacking at all. He's giving them the rope to hang themselves with. That's not the same thing.
Exactly.
So his style is that he takes. It's almost like computer implanting data into a computer, right? Like data entry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're X amount of years old. Okay, you have been married before. Okay, you're divorced. You have a couple kids. Okay, you're looking for a man that makes how much money? Okay, you want that man to be black or brown. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do with you, man. I'm gonna be honest. You're not gonna find that guy, and the reason you're not going to find that guy is because you're divorced and you have kids. Men don't want women with kids. Boom. So that's already done. You want a man that makes a certain dollar amount, but you also want him to be black or brown. There are very few men like that. And it's even less if you're looking for black or brown. And in fact, black or brown men are only in how many places in the country? Like 10 places? Where do you live? Exactly. And so he's breaking it down.
Analytically. He's just going off the data.
It'd be different if he was just like, you ain't shit. Why are you calling in my pocket?
Yeah, like why you calling?
A totally different thing.
It would completely be different.
And my favorite thing about him is we forget about this, and he does not get the credit for this. And this is where I would ride for him. He drags men.
Yo, fam, worse. And the thing about it too, because he actually recently did an episode where he was just talking to men.
Yeah.
And there were dudes he was just like, yo, fam, you make $30,000 a year. Yo, man, look, I'm not talking about you. You're not but I'm still, it's like, no, you're listen, you need to focus on this. You need to do this. You need to do that. You need to get your shit together.
Yeah. I saw him berate this one dude where he broke this dude's life down in 30 seconds, and the dude looked like he wanted to jump out a window. He's like, bro, listen, you 300 pounds, you make no money, you have no prospects, you're not very educated. Why would women want anything to do with you?
Yo.
And then it was just crickets.
Yo, I saw that one because the dude was like, yo, I'm not gonna approach a girl unless she makes the approach first. And he was just like, what makes you when he broke it down, he's like, what makes you think a woman should be giving you choosing signals?
Yeah.
why do you have this fear of rejection? Like, don't have this fear of rejection. You need to get in shape. You need to do this. And like, yo, he breaks it down on both ends. That's why I'm like, yo, like I can't knock him. I cannot knock him. I think that we all just need to be like the best versions of ourselves and kind of understanding of like, yo, this is where we all are in life, and we attract what we are.
Yeah, and I do think a lot of the arrows that he gets, critically speaking, is because we're still trying to get over the shock of a man having that type of platform. Like, how many shows can you think of that are hosted by a man, where a man has creative control, he's driving the topics, and he gets to say what he wants about relationships or whatever? Because, like, however one feels about Kevin Samuels, it's not like he's being disrespectful. Like, the criticism that he got and is getting would give one the impression that he's inviting women on and telling them they ain't shit and that they're like deadbeats and like no one wants them and they're not worthy of love or anything like that. That's not what's happening. He's assessing your prospects based on what you want. And we're also forgetting the men that these women are saying that they want are dudes who are top earners, own their own business, have their own house, drive like, you know, super expensive car. Like, if you want that, there's not a lot of those dudes around.
Well, and there's already not a lot of them around, and then the availability of them gets even lower when you think about, because that's what he says. He's like, yo, like that's not accounting for sexual orientation. It's not accounting for whether they're single or married. It's just there are only 10% of men who make $100,000 or more a year.
And if we're talking black men, we're talking less than 2%.
So like black men, that brings it down. Single brings it down. Sexual orientation brings it down.
Where do you live? Where do they live?
Where do they live? Where do you live? Yo, so then like that's what he's more so just being very realistic and very like
so again, he broke it down with math, and that's kind of what made me look at it. So yeah, you have to be realistic about your prospects, you know, but I think it's a difference in philosophies from men to women. So men, we are brought up, generally speaking, regardless of your cultural background, whatever, like just speaking as generically as men, we are taught that what we get in life is ultimately the result of what we've worked for, right?
Yes.
One of the things my dad did that I think really kind of sped me along as far as like finishing school as like becoming a man. He's like, bro, you got to get together. It was one particular week where I was like acted up at school. And I was like not handling business. And he's like, bro, you got to start being a man today. Like seriously. And I think I was like 16 at the time. And he was like, you got to understand, like no one's coming to save you. Like,
yes.
And he was like, listen, what you don't have is the ultimate out. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, yo, at the end of the day, you know, if you were a young, pretty girl, you can luck up and find a guy who will take care of you. You can do that and not have to do anything in your life and not have to have any skills. That's not going to happen for you, ever. You're going to have to figure it out. And so,
yo, no one's coming to save you. Like, that's like the perfect summary of it.
Yeah.
No one, like, yo, nobody's coming.
Yeah.
Nobody's coming. That's not a thing. You got to get it together.
Yeah. You've never heard of a dude who mopped floors on Monday and like met a doctor and was like the husband of a doctor 6 months later. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, because like
I guess that's part of my beef, if we want to call it that. I've always resented the fact that whatever we do, like as men in life, like whatever we get in life, is something that we have to like scratch and claw for. Yeah. It's not to say that women don't work for things; they obviously do. But our starting positions in life and our trajectory, like for success, the past can never be the same. They won't be, just because like expectations are different. Women are wonderful, but the pressures that they face. No, seriously. But the pressures that they face and the pressures that we face aren't like exactly the same. They're very, very different.
Of course.
Our version of getting it out of the mud is different than theirs.
Oh, of course. Because I think the reason why it's different, I think this is where, and this is something that Kevin Samuels does talk about, is like the idea, like men just like it's a different mindset.
Yeah.
You know, he talks about like yo, like you know, there are women who will say, yo, I'm getting it out the mud, I'm doing this. It's like, all right, like, are you receiving government assistance? Are you getting this? Or you get like, so then he's like, so are you really? And then he was just like, yo, because as a man, like when a man is down on his luck, his mind doesn't go to assistance. His mind is, I need to get it together or I'm going to be homeless. Like, that's where a man's mind goes.
Yeah, men don't get the option to sort of like toil in mediocrity, right? For instance, I'll give you an example. So let's say, Izzy, there's a girl that you are into that you want to like get close to, whatever, you want to get to know. And you don't think you're good enough. And maybe she doesn't think you're good enough. You go, damn, I got to work out.
Yeah.
I got to dress better. I got to do all of these things to sort of make myself a more suitable partner for them. And the thing is with women, they are never asked to become a greater version of themselves to get a man that they want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's totally different. So to me, we both have struggles, but they're not the same.
Yeah. And I think that's where it kind of comes down to. It's like, it isn't saying that women don't have struggles, because they do.
Yeah.
Women have their battles and their, you know, the things that they need to overcome.
Mostly it's us.
Mostly us.
Mostly us.
Mostly us.
If we being honest.
Yes. Right? They have those things that they have to deal with. Yes. It's like, all right, like, we're not saying that you don't have that.
Yeah.
We just want y'all to acknowledge the fact that men have this shit over here that they got to deal with. Men need to, like, if a man isn't able to provide, then he's not viewed as a man.
Yeah. And it's totally suitable to leave your husband if he's like failing in that area. Like if your man loses his job and he doesn't provide, like you can leave your man. And like people are like, well, yeah.
Yeah, no, he couldn't provide.
Yeah.
He wasn't, 100%.
But let you leave your woman after she gained 40 pounds.
That's
messed up.
That's messed up.
What's wrong with you?
You're a monster.
It's the mother of your kids, you animal.
Yeah, you're damn, this guy
well, because like we're in it for two different things, right? Like when we start looking at prospective partners, we're looking for two very different things. The great advantage women have in that area is that they can actually get us off basics. Like they don't need to present with the laundry list of things, right?
Off the look,
You just go, damn, she look kind of good. And that's a wrap. Like that's enough. That woman becomes the mother of your kids off of that. She becomes a wife off of that. As long as, you know, you don't become a burden in our life or make things harder for us. If you look good and you're worth our time, that's it. That's all we need from you. A dude's gotta like clear.
You gotta be a superhero.
All these hurdles.
Superhero.
Like, if you're on a date with a girl, first date, you're what drives the date. You know what I mean? You have to have good conversation. You gotta be funny. You gotta be engaging. Look good. Smell nice.
Yeah.
Be all of these things, and you gotta pass the basic like attributes test, right? Like on paper, like what you present as. So you come from a good family. What's your relationship with your mother like? Have you ever been married before? Mm-hmm. Do you live alone? Do you have your own vehicle? Whatever.
Yeah, like
Are
what's
you educated?
your
all of these things. You know what I mean? Like you need to do all that before you even consider suitable. You're not even in the running yet. Yeah. You're just you're handing in your application.
That's how you get in the running. Though.
That's how you get in the running. You know what I mean?
They start looking at, what are the things that you got going for you?
And what's on her application is I'm breathing.
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm here. I showed up, didn't I?
I showed up, didn't I?
Letting you buy me dinner.
Yo, that'd be the one right there. It's like, say, yo, you love me? I'm here, ain't I? It's like, fam.
That's what my family was like. We have that relationship. Because in my family, we don't say I love you to us, to each other. Like, I've heard it a few times, and it's always weirded me out. Because, like, that wasn't my upbringing. Like, if I said to my aunt, like, Auntie, do you love me? She'd be like, bought you that jacket, didn't I?
Like, you right? You're not cold.
You like them sneakers?
Yeah, like,
you asked me something like that. What's wrong with you? Like, it might be a fight.
What's wrong with you?
It's ingrained.
Say, hey, nah, he ungrateful. So, with that being said, Dre's DMs are open. Mine are not.
You trying to get me in trouble, bro.
Yeah. No, do not DM me about anything, please.
Yeah, I'll respond like 2 weeks later. I'll be too busy.
Yo, oh man. So the last quick thing, it's Hispanic Heritage Month.
Miente.
So what I've been doing is more so, it's more so just kind of giving homework to the listeners. So I will give you a figure and you do your research because again, oftentimes whenever podcasts or like any platform wants to give like a historical figure for the month, they'll tell you all the information right then and there. And it's like the Cliff Notes version. I'm just like, yo fam, like Just tell me who it is. I'll do the research. I'm sure there's a documentary on it that I can watch and like get into it. So today, I bring to you Celia Cruz, Cuban singer. Look her up. All right, and damn, that's all I've got, man.
Yeah.
Yo.
That was, we got deep in that one.
We got real deep.
Yeah. I feel like we put our foot on somebody's neck on that one.
Yeah, nah, I feel, I for certain like feel like there I don't know how people are gonna feel about this. So like it's gonna be some shit like people are gonna be like, yo, like
I feel like it can go either way.
Yo, cause it's a roller. I think it'll be a roller coaster ride for anybody who has a stance on anything because we just covered so many different things.
Yeah.
But like, man, I don't care. This shit
I'm happy,
man. This shit is good, man. I'm happy to have you here. I think I've been saying that, like, for me, doing these different episodes with different people, I've been trying to just reach out as far as I can to just get like a bunch of just people who've had any kind of significance in my life and just people who I have any level of respect for. Because for me, I think with you, I put you and like just that whole squad in that sense of just like, yo, this is just like a group of like big brothers who I always look towards as far as just like, yo, like when I met y'all, a lot of y'all were like graduating college. It was almost like I would always look at y'all as like, this is the direction I'm going in.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, we're all at CCRI. They all graduated CCRI. They're going to a 4-year school. When I graduate CCRI, I'm going to a 4-year school.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, we all going, like, I always viewed it as almost like just a peek into like 2, 3, 4 years down the road for me. And so I think it's very fitting now as far as just like, seeing where a lot of us are just kind of like really thriving in our individual fields. I also love the fact that like how we all felt confident in ourselves to just go on our own and carve our own paths. Yeah. Because I think that was also something that I looked at where it was just like, yo, yeah, we're all starting together in this one place, but like Phil's going down the road of writing where nobody else was doing this. Yeah. From this, from this, like everyone just took their own path. So it kind of made me feel confident in like, yo, like I don't need to worry about, I want to do what my homies are doing. It's like, nah, like I can go and chase this career in marketing. And even though none of my boys is like with me, I'm like by myself, like I know they still with me. Yeah. I know they still got me. So I think that's where like when I look at y'all, that's how I feel, where it's just like, yo, y'all can go on y'all own paths, but like still have that feeling of just like, nah, like I know my brothers is here.
Yeah, it's that homeboy pride. It's like how I felt when that year Lil Wayne went back to college.
Yeah.
You like, damn, you was rapping Go DJ last year, and now you reading.
Yo. Yo, I remember the Dave Chappelle skit where he was just like, yo, when he had the job at Whack Arnold's, he was like, damn, look at this.
Calvin got a job.
Like, dang, Look, and Calvin, we so proud of you. Like, it's that homie pride, man. You see your boys doing
I like seeing my brothers win, man. That's all I want.
Yeah, man. So I think that's where, like, I have that level of appreciation in having you here and also just, like, cementing this as, like, yo, like, this happened. This conversation happened. There's this piece of, like, content that'll just live in eternity of just, like, yo, there's that one, like, wherever we go in life, it's like, like, back in 2021, Dre and Izzy, they did a podcast episode together. Like here it is.
Yeah, I feel like Giannis has the title. I don't need to do it again. I did it.
I don't need to do it again. I did it. Yo, so appreciate having you here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
With that being said, I will take us away. You finish your shit. I peeped that. Some ships float, some ships sink. The best ships are friendships. And to those ships, we drink. He drank already.
I drank already.
Peace.
Peace.
See y'all next week. See who I got here with me next week. Yo, if you're still here, shout out to you. Shout out to you. This shit long as fuck.
Yeah, this shit was long.
Oh my god. If we didn't plan for it to be this long, I had a feeling it might have been, but yo.
Yeah, we got to like set aside, have like backroom snacks or something ready.
Yeah, this shit. Yeah. We gotta go to the green room. All right, yo, peace, love. All right.